This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Lord, as we gather this day to the important business of the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen. All right, so there's no public hearings tonight, so we start with public comment. Okay, so what do we got? Peter?
Two quick cemetery things. First, I'd like to, now that we have the parking lot completed, I'd like to acknowledge the great work that Fred and his crew did. They really did yeoman service. Also assisted by Les Wagner, who cut down a lot of the trees, walked down the slope to cut stuff. He, you missed your big moment.
No confetti, but.
Yeah, but to compliment you and your crew on all the work you
You're welcome,
did
sir.
on the parking lot, and Les Wagner for personally cutting down a lot of the trees. There were also significant financial contributions. Ann Trivasano Lofty gave us 8 truckloads of gravel at her expense. The Wagner Foundation gave us $7,000 towards the completion of the parking lot. The 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 Wagner Lumber Company separately gave us the geotechnical fabric and the use of their heavy equipment for almost 2 weeks. So I wanted to acknowledge the community contributions to the effort. And then the second thing is, in the interest of being street legal in the future, the Friends would like to request the board approval to submit a grant to the Tioga Downs Foundation for $3,000. This request is to fund electric service to the historic Evergreen Mortuary Chapel for lighting and ceiling fans. Currently, there's only natural light and 2 un, or just raw bulbs that light the chapel. So if there's going to be any use in the future, it's mainly restored. Rod painted it very nicely. We have the windows fixed, new doors. We stopped the leaks. So it's in pretty good shape. And
A couple of years ago, we put the roof on.
and the village put the roof on, a new roof. So if it's going to be useful in the future, we'd like to do this. And if we get the grant money, we'll liaise with Fred on the details of the lighting and the wiring to make sure it's up to the village standards. So we'd like to get the board's permission to write the grant. And then we'll come back and ask permission again to actually do the work.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I would propose that the village board approve the Friends of Owego Evergreen to put in for grant money with Tioga Downs for $3,000.
Do we have a second? Any discussion?
So we were talking about grants recently and how that works. So that's a separate organization. So they have to get the grant and then give us the funds to do the thing.
Right.
So if
No.
that's the case,
No,
That's not the case.
we cannot fund the village per se. We would pay the contractor directly.
Okay.
That's what we did with the
No, that's fine,
parking.
that's fine, you don't give us the money, you pay the contract. But the point being, they're not going out for a grant, they're not part of the village, they're not going out for a village grant. Is that not the case?
True, I mean, they're their own nonprofit.
They're their own nonprofit, they're going out for a grant,
Right.
and then they're going to, so the process would be, we wouldn't need to approve them to go out for a grant.
But we're asking to construct something on village property.
Correct. And if
And-
you
and
happen
a lot
to,
of
if you
these
happen to get
ordinance-
money and you happen to have it and you happen to wanna use that, then we would give you permission to do that. You understand what I'm saying about the process? We're not, the straight grant process, we're not involved in that grant. That's not a arm of us, so they don't have to ask us to go out, because it's not in our name.
Wonder what that grant is used for later.
That, once you get that grant, then if you choose to use it for something in the village, you will ask us permission to do that thing.
Some of the
Am I being too
organizations,
specific here?
some of the organizations require us to submit, like, when we got the landscape architect to review, the plans or do an analysis of evergreen, we had to, confirm it with village minutes that we had permission, to do this, because it's not our property.
So I guess maybe permission is the wrong word, maybe we need to be in support of you going for that.
I'm
Just so you have
trying to
something
follow
official
that.
to like, yeah, we're with you.
And the Pomeroy Foundation, for those historic markers, because they go on a property owner's marker, they need to see the documentation that we have permission to do it.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Does it,
Well, how
does it mean that we should give them permission to install electric, on their dime in that mortuary chapel? Would that be the permission? That's not the.
Because you don't know what the design is, it's too early. They're just, I mean, they're seeking a grant. You know, this could just be informational. If you need a letter of support and authorizing a letter of support would be fine. You know, but it's not approving anything by the
Letter of
village,
support.
because there's no project that is in sufficient detail to identify what it is.
Okay, well,
So just tell me if I'm wrong and we need to prove that we're going out for a grant, and I'll just.
No, I think authorizing a letter of support would be fine. You know, the village of Owego is in support of the Friends of the Evergreen Cemetery's application for a grant to perform work at the Evergreen Cemetery.
Sounds
Sounds good. Do we need to withdraw that?
Yeah, well, parameter modifier.
Yeah.
Make that
Withdraw
motion.
it.
okay. Well, let me just, I want to make one comment. They did get an approximate estimate from someone as far as what work would cost. That's why they're putting in that amount.
Right.
But they're not requesting that the work be done at this point.
Right. Totally.
So, okay, I asked that the village, put in a letter of support for Friends of Owego Evergreen to, request a grant of $3,000 from the Tioga Downs for work at the mortuary chapel.
I agree with that.
Any other discussion?
You think that'll do?
Great, thank you.
Well, we gotta vote yet.
No, great. Relax, this is a discussion. I'm asking Peter if he thinks that will take care of it with his ass.
Yeah. Rusty,
Yes?
Laura.
Yeah.
Greg,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Yes. Chris has been waving her paper.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Chris Stevens. I've lived here 30 years. My husband had a business here for 20. We all know that there have been some recent issues with code violations. I'm here today to speak for the majority of the community who has the integrity to follow our laws, codes, and zoning. The majority of us are mature enough to realize that these are in place not as a whim, but to protect health, safety, property values, and quality of life here in Owego. Those who falsely think they are for some reason above the law and blatantly ignore them and are disrespecting everyone in the community are certainly not preserving or serving anyone, but causing all of us in multiple ways. Many people here, including most recently our fire department, have been working to make Owego a cut above and as financially stable as possible. We enjoy advantages here at Owego that provide not only state and federal recognition, but financial benefits that go along with that. To risk losing all that because of willful stubbornness puts us on the path to becoming just another dumpy ghost town. And believe me, in New York State, there are a lot of them. The economy is not good. It's not going to get any better. We need every advantage we can get. The board itself needs to set an example by supporting their own agencies that are following criteria, guidelines, codes, and zoning. And by the way, I find it ironic when a service organization ignores its own mission statement of promoting good citizenship. This is not how you treat your neighbors. Callous disregard of laws and lack of responsibility is shameful and reprehensible.
Sorry, Peter, I thought you had something in the middle. Are you good?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Richard Van Hall, member of the zoning board of appeals. Now, I'm sure Nate can tell me the answer to this, but I know that for that sign, initial stumbling block or whatever it is, the OHBC. Even if we made it through that, or that was allowed to go on, would it still go to the zoning board? Because it's not an aesthetic, there's other things in the code. So let's just pretend it does, because I'm getting it out there. I don't.
So to the extent
presume
you're on the zoning board still, right?
Yep, still on.
Yeah, so to the extent that you are on you're a resident of the village of Owego, you're certainly free to comment on anything that you want to or think is appropriate. I was saying to Mike earlier, to the extent that people are asking the village board to engage in a dialogue on this sign, I'm going to encourage the board to not do that. The only action I would ask the board to take in public session would be a motion to authorize legal action against Legion regarding the sign issue to have it removed. And to otherwise not engage in a discussion and a back and forth with the community about that issue, because we will presumably end up in court, and I don't want any of your statements to have any sort of play in there. So if you've got questions about the sign that you're asking the board to answer, I'm going to tell the board to not answer those. To the extent that you're a member of the zoning board, if this ever comes in front of you, you may end up needing to recuse yourself at this point. So
Right.
at this point, that's
So we'll
the only
work
action
on that. But as a person who goes out to, just starting doing this, goes out to like 17 when there's an issue, stands out there and potentially tries not to get hit by vehicles and stuff like that, even though we have similar, smaller situations in the village. I don't like distractions. And that's a terrible place to have a sign that changes. And people might go, what was that? See what that is? I think it's a terrible thing to have any more of that. We have a tiny little bit with the Boys and Girls Club, but I think that's a different thing. But just as a person who doesn't want people to be injured on the road, either pedestrians by cars or whatever's going on. And I thought that might have been a theme of some of this I heard in the past. It's sort of counterintuitive. safer to not have changing information signs near where pedestrians and businesses are mixing. That's it.
Terry brought some good cookies.
She left a few at home.
Who else we got? We got Mike.
Go ahead.
Hi, RJ Pasto, EMS. So our captain and co-captain have been suspended for over 30 days now. It seems that if what was alleged in the complaints that led to the suspension is so egregious as to warrant immediate suspension before any kind of investigation or inquiry, I think we should have been able to find sufficient evidence to support the complaint, and or if the evidence isn't there, maybe it's time to reevaluate the suspension. So I think whatever the result is, this situation is, the longer it drags on, the more strain it's putting on the squad. I think it's in everyone's best interest to get this resolved as quickly as possible. Which kind of leads to, well, it doesn't really lead to the second point, but in this, trying to figure out what happened and why certain people were suspended, it became apparent that there isn't really any village code or ordinance or anything that formally establishes the EMS as a department or its captain and co-captain as village officers, at least nothing that I could find online. So maybe it's time that the board looks into formalizing the EMS as a department in code ordinance, what have you. Thank you.
That stuff should be out there, because we passed a bunch of laws about it.
For the EMS department. No, actually, it was just a board resolution that created it. Okay. And then the resolution that created it, the board chose to appoint the captain, the officers really, the captain and I think co-captain, because that's who the board originally approved after the first meeting of the membership of the nonprofit. The board at that time chose to have a nonprofit organization staff it and allow the nonprofit members to elect a person to run the department, and the board would ultimately approve that person to run the department. Aside from that, everyone's volunteers except for the paid staff, and volunteers, there's not a lot of rules about it, because they're volunteers. You never have to accept someone's services if you choose to not accept them. And then the question would be, once somebody has been accepted to provide services to an organization, what due process rights are they entitled to, if any, when you choose to separate them from that? It all hinges on whether they have any benefits that they're getting from the municipal entity. So for firemen, there's a law, state laws, GML 209-L, that says the process to remove a person from acting as a volunteer fireman. For ambulance workers, there's not a similar statute. However, general principles of due process would require that you, before you remove them completely, give them notice and an opportunity to be heard. Now, Mr. Pasco's referenced investigations, or authorized at least one, if not two. Those are still ongoing. I haven't concluded yet. My colleagues indicated that you would have one of those reports by the end of this week. I will say, I think I do agree with RJ that to the extent that there needs to be some more definition, that's not a bad thing.
I agree.
Real quick, sure. So, just a little sliver of that, it sounds like, in this type of instance, possibly there is, some limitation about, dismissing somebody, that there's not a, it doesn't appear that there's some problem with demoting somebody.
There's no property interest in acting as the head of a department like that.
They lost nothing, because they didn't
Right.
get it.
Still members.
Clear that?
Okay, we're still in public comment. Mike?
Alright. First of all, I think the sign looks great, by the way. And as far as it being a distraction, it's no more of a distraction than the one in front of the boys club. You know, they've got that sign out there, they wanna put things on there that are gonna help the village. There's all sorts of things they can do on there to help the village, help the community. And I've got other comments, but I'm not gonna bring them up here. But you wanna talk about code violations all over this village. For properties owned by people that do contract work for the village. But their places are falling apart. And nothing's done about it. So if you're gonna talk about code violations, talk about all of them, not go after just that one.
Any other public comment? Let's set off the list. Do I have any invited guests tonight? Let's do these parade permits first, because Pat came to talk about it, in case we have questions. So, we have a motion that approved these in some fashion. We wanted to place them back up to give final approval on all the rest of the events for HOF for the rest of the year. I have my file. Permits, there's 3 of them. I got them.
Oh, yeah.
So we have. Probably not gonna go in order. Oh, maybe I will. So we have Halloween, which is 10/25. That's your festival, not Halloween. Then we have the holiday showcase and the lights on the ribbon. So that's the remainder of the year for HO and Rick. Calendar year. So how do we want to go event by event? So let's talk about Halloween. The only thing you're requesting is to close Lake Street 5 to 9. Okay.
They have a parade for the kids and everybody dressed up.
Right.
And, they need it for safety.
Right. And we've done that the last couple of years.
And the parade is limited to Lake Street? The parade is limited to Lake Street? Yes.
Yeah, it's just like a.
Oh, I thought it was, I just wanted to.
No, that's correct, yes.
And the Junior Chamber of Commerce has agreed to have their members, be crossing guards for Front Street and Main Street, you know, in case kids want to cross the street there, which somebody brought up as a good idea. So we have some volunteers to help with that.
Junior, are they, you said junior chamber, they're high school kids, right?
Yes, yeah, is that legal?
That's probably not legal on the state.
Okay, well then,
That's state route there.
all right, that was offered and we didn't know for someone that said, you know, kids crossing there. So we'd have to have police maybe there.
Or fire police, maybe.
Yeah,
My
fire
only-
police.
My only pitch there would be the minors if something happens. But
Yeah, I could think that.
we don't want anybody getting in trouble.
Yeah. Our Colton brought that up as a possibility.
That's a good idea, though.
All right. Well, basically, we just want to close it.
Okay. Looks like Rusty.
No, of course, I have questions. Once again, we're just trying to get everything set up before we do these things.
Yeah.
So I heard you say that there's a parade and we need to close the street for the safety of that, but we're closing the street for a festival, because the parade's gonna be 5 minutes.
Right.
So we're not closing the street for the safety of that, we're closing it for the festival, for the whole evening.
Yeah, for the whole evening.
Just making that clear. The police chief, I know that there's been a glitch here with the parade permits, et cetera. That's that glitch. Now we're gonna move along after that glitch. And of course, the police chief needs to sign off on these parade permits. And the police chief has signed off on the parade permits, and he, with some contingencies. These things are more difficult now because of the nature of troubles at various things. So we have barricades, we have other things to stop runaway cars or crazy people coming in. So I'm just saying, there's other things that we have to do now. So there's a couple of things. One is that the post office be okay with this. When we do one of these things on Sunday, it's a particular thing. When we do one on Friday night, I believe that it depends on what, is the thing gonna start at 5 or do you wanna close the street before that?
Probably close it maybe around 4, and I think the police, the post office comes through at 3.
The post office comes, I talked to them yesterday, not about this, just about something else, and they told me that they come through at 4 and at 6. That's when they send the truck out of the mail. That doesn't mean that, I don't know what else they might have. So he wants to make sure, one of his contingencies is that we're going to be able to accommodate the post office correctly.
Sure.
This isn't gonna be easy. When we do one of these events where we have a number of people and we have streets closed, and he wants to have two police officers at this kind of an event. If we're having a street closure, we're gonna have barricades, we're gonna do other things, he wants it for safety and other reasons, wants 2 police officers to be there. Anyway, one at each end of the street, and as they're doing other things, and sometime or other, we're going to have to discuss, because what we do for Strawberry Festival, we're gonna have to discuss compensation for these officers, because they are generally off-duty officers, and there's a way that this works, as opposed to us having our police officers there. On our pay, the festival pays police officers. So I don't know if there's preparation or thoughts about them, how you.
There never has been a cost before.
Well,
Strawberry Fest is the only one, and then I think my son was a cost. But Halloween and holiday showcase, we haven't had to pay anything.
Yep, that's correct. We didn't pay anything for Halloween before. And with the nature of the things now, this is what the officer says. The chief says he will sign off on this, but he requests 2 officers be assigned there. They'll probably be retired officers, and he requests that the sponsoring organization pay for them to be there.
And that makes sense. So anytime we close the street, it's definitely not free to the village. So taxpayers are paying for that.
So that's what I have from the chief on that. Other than that, he, and of course, happy to have you here now, before this gets 10 minutes away from this, so that we can have all this stuff straight. There were glitches on the Porch Fest. They happened how they happened. One of the things that we didn't get taken care of there was we didn't get the no parking signs up, because nobody was prepared for this. So there were cars parked on Lake Street for the Porch Fest. Well, we need, that's just a little thing, but we need to coordinate with the DPW. We need to have those no parking signs up the day before, so that there's nobody on the street. We need to remove them on and on. That's more police things. Which is another reason why the police are part of it. And not on the Halloween one, but last year, they just, the way things turned out, we had 1 police officer on duty for the Porch Fest, and that was not,
in general.
That was not okay.
I saw at least 2 people.
This year there was.
No, this is last year.
Oh.
Tom Williams was the only officer on that Sunday in the whole village. He wasn't even assigned to a festival or anything. So I'm just saying that it is, that's why the chief is requesting these things.
Right.
Okay. So.
Well, it's not just HOM, like, on the whole.
For anybody.
Permit, like, so this last Saturday, Porch Fest was Sunday, Saturday we had the homecoming parade. Apparently the parade permits and the DOT permits only closed half of North Ave. There was cars, which I was in the parade, there was cars coming the other way, that could have went really bad, really fast.
That is correct. That was not like the Little League parade where we closed the entire width of the road. We closed 1 lane of the road. we didn't have a bunch of kids. We had 20 or 30 cars, and we didn't have 300 kids walking down the street. So if that was the thought, then just the cars, then that would have been just okay for half the road. So that was another little.
So in general, that's where
Yeah, the
we're
whole
looking
thing
at the
is
parade
wrong
permits different.
for,
So we're trying to tighten up the whole operation, your side, our side, all the pieces, so that these things go off well. You know what to expect, and we know what to expect. Everybody has the right permissions. Okay, that's my thing for the chief on the Halloween parade.
I got no problem saying we'll close Lake Street with the chief's suggestions.
So we, communicate with the chief then about what's needed.
Yes, please do that. I'm assuming he'll do the post office piece. You'll communicate with him about the officers and compensation, and now, we're gonna change that 5 to 9 if it needs to be closed. If 5 is when it's starting, and we need to have it closed before that, that's gonna have to tell us that.
Right.
All that's problematic. I also heard on the side that in the Porch Fest, all the merchants on the Lake Street weren't I may not have this right, weren't contacted, so a bunch of them didn't know that we were having that then. So that's another piece of this. They should probably all know about Halloween now, and they should all be prepared for it, but they need to be contacted and told that. And part of the reason for that is the time we close it. Some of those businesses might say, I don't want you closing that at 3, I don't want you closing that at 4, that's my big busy. That's in more of the pieces of the discussion we were supposed to be having about all these. So, that being said, what time do we want to close it?
Well, they just had, cones and things right there, they could just do it in a few minutes, so I wouldn't close it any sooner than they need to.
Right. The question is
you gotta get cars off the street.
Cars off, we gotta tell them they can't be on
4
there.
o'clock maybe?
Yeah, I would guess 4 would be fine.
There was only 1 car on the street yesterday. On
Right,
Lake
so,
Street.
is this a Friday night that you're doing the Halloween thing?
Yeah,
I'm just thinking there may be more cars there
Yeah, probably.
like the whole street.
than on Sunday.
But I'm sure Fred will be on top of this, and he wasn't on top of the other one, but he and the police will decide about getting the parking.
Right, yeah, I know there's definitely less cars if we mark it correctly.
They know about it.
No, I just said, not blaming you for anything that happened before, but no, everything that happened before doesn't matter. We're gonna fix everything from now on. So, what time?
I think 4 o'clock would be plenty.
They're requesting 4 o'clock.
I mean, that's fine, it's before 5, so.
And you said until 9?
So we leave it up to the police chief?
Might be a good idea.
Well,
Because really, that's, I mean.
it's not his thing about whether we're inconveniencing businesses or, I mean, to him, although if you're gonna be paying for officers, every extra hour you add in there is more money you gotta pay. Just telling you that. But if we say 4, that's when he'll do it.
I think 4 would be fine, and that gives them an hour to get set up, and any cars off the street that have to be off the street.
Thanks for listening to me on this, but I have been talking with him about all. Somebody wants to move that, then
Make a motion for that?
maybe they should.
Approve it at 4? 4 to 9?
I'll make most of that.
We got a second? I'll second.
Okay, we don't, it was great on the Porch Fest, we don't have food vendors coming in for this one, do we? We didn't have any food vendors on the other one because we wanted our people to be selling the
Yeah, I
food.
think there's some popcorn people coming that they give away popcorn, so.
Oh,
Oh, they're not selling,
Yeah, believe it.
giving it.
I don't
They're
think
not
so.
selling?
I don't think so, but I know that it's part of the Halloween parade. I'm really not sure if there's a food vendor coming in, but it would only be 1 or 2. Not sure.
Yeah, I remember last year's, I think there was maybe the funnel cake guy, the popcorn guy.
I know Janelle has this popcorn guy that gives away free popcorn, and the Florida Hooker Foundation used to pay for it.
Right,
But I don't know if that's happening.
and the popcorn guy's from Atlanta. Right.
Remember we talked about details, in January, we talked about details, these are the kind of details that we're having that discussion right now, but these are the ones we wanna have.
I think
So the
there are-
vendors could get in there at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, there are vendors along the street, but I don't know how many are food vendors, maybe one or two. There are some vendors, yes.
Right, you got some tables that get set up, right, like nonprofits and
Yeah,
Maybe nonprofits are okay, but I don't know about us approving peddlers and vendors, without talking about it beforehand.
Well, any vendors that may be selling merchandise will help them cover the price of the officers.
If they're selling food, they need to make sure that the people have their, health permits and to be selling
yeah, well,
food.
we would do that, certainly. Yeah.
So they need to make pre-arrangements, so you do need to
We could give you,
know.
you know, a program of what's gonna be there, because I don't think it's set yet.
that'd be good for sure.
So I don't know if we're asking for every exact person name by name, we're asking for the general idea of what's gonna be there.
Well, it's exactly like last year, there were, I think, a couple of food vendors, and then there were some other vendors on the street. It's just on Lake Street.
I can't remember if there was like
And it's a
regular,
Porta John.
Was there like-
I think that's about it. And I think we had a DJ.
yeah, there was a DJ. Was there, I don't remember like craft vendors, maybe there was.
There was some kind of vendors.
It was like nonprofits. The DJ guy. There was,
Yeah. Rotary does the food, there's different,
Right.
and they give things to the kids.
I could call Janelle if you want to know, she knows what they're calling.
I don't think there was vendors, other than there was a couple food, but it wasn't like food, it was like funnel cake.
Yeah,
No,
it seems like what she said last time was
There's
that
nothing like.
it would not be competitive food.
Right,
Okay.
This is
We're
very
gonna be a pizza
low.
man, we're gonna be a bakery.
very
local.
contacted, you know, I was talking to her earlier, but I didn't ask this.
Okay, so Janelle says Originals and Fuddy Duddies are having some food outside that they're selling.
Right.
And, there is a vendor selling coffee and popcorn, coffee probably to keep the parents happy.
Mhm.
And all the nonprofits are giving away candy, there's no one else selling.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Did you text her?
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need help.
We all need help, trust me.
So we have a motion, right? We have a motion?
Yep.
And in the motion, it is contingent upon, whatever final, because final things have to be done with the police,
Right.
contingent on final, we will give the police chief some discretion on those final details.
Right.
So you're saying we need to have that information in 2 weeks? Is that what you're saying?
You probably need the information earlier than that to get the police officers.
Yeah, because if you don't do it, you just say, oh, the heck with it, don't do it. We just told you you had to do it, and then it's 2 days before, what do you want us to do? No, do it.
Right.
It's contingent. Do you want that to be part of the motion? Contingent upon the police chief?
Working out all the
Something said.
details with HOM.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
I agree with
Sorry,
that.
Brad.
Nah,
So what did you just decide now?
well, we haven't voted on it yet.
We're gonna go from 4, have the street closed from 4 to 9. And you'll work out the details with Officer Kennedy so that
Right.
Captain
With
Kennedy's
the
minutes
man and post
to
office,
get
all
the 2
details.
police officers.
Okay.
And we don't expect, it isn't in the motion, but we don't expect a change in a bunch of food vendors or anything. But we
Yeah, no,
said
it
that's
doesn't-
not gonna happen. We're not, this not in the motion, but we expect that not to be the case. Let's do it.
And I second it. Charles seconded it, so we're good. Anybody else have any? We'll vote quick. Frank?
I'll say yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
And yes. There you go. That was good. Next one should be much easier. Holiday showcase, which is just bandit parading into the business district. Normally we police escort from the high lot around the loop, and then we're done, like 10 minutes, well, half an hour maybe.
It's a horse and carriage like last year.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Flather then was very kind and
He was, because I was at a cheer gun.
rode with us.
So they would be temporarily stopping traffic as the carriage went through?
Yeah, it's not even like it's stopping, like it's, they just escort it in the middle of
Just make it
traffic.
more official, and the horse and carriage, you know, has a special sign, you know, a slow moving vehicle. I mean, they comply with everything.
Rusty?
As required, the police chief has to sign off, he's willing to sign off on this, which he has done, I have these applications with his signature, and I'm doing what he told me to do here tonight.
And there's no road closure.
This one, yes, and it doesn't, in a sense, we're gonna give it the parade permit, but in a sense, we don't believe we have to contact the state. It will go down, North Avenue, but since it's going to have probably a police car in front of it, a police car behind it in Santa, then we believe that won't require parade, or state permission.
Right.
And then it'll turn on Main, it'll go down Lake, it'll go to front, that's what this says, go to front, go left, which is another piece of state, and then go down to Church Street. I think that's the route?
Yes, and I think the Elks is gonna host the Santa, so
Oh, yeah.
they'll end up at the Elks.
Yeah, and then the kids go to see Santa at the Elks. Okay, so that's the plan on that. This particular thing doesn't, in the Holiday Fest, we don't close any streets, so everything is for the merchants and stuff on the sidewalks and stuff, so we don't have
That's right.
vendors or things in the streets. And
And then we have some musical events, you know, jugglers
But-
and magician or something.
But they won't be on the street, they'll be in a parking lot or,
Right.
so the chief has signed off on that under those terms, and that wouldn't, I don't believe, require any police officers. Doesn't have that down.
Great.
So we have a motion and a second to.
Nobody made the motion yet. Jump there.
I'll make it. Eric, okay. Eric, any other discussion on that? Should be good then. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yeah.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? Yeah. That's fine. Well, next one is Lights on the River. That's obviously much bigger than that.
Mostly, the ATV parade, which I think we're going to have, coming from the county office building to Front Street, Court Street, Main Street, Church Street. So that's what the permit's for.
Well,
And then we do have to get a DOT permit, you know, to close some of the streets.
Yeah, those streets.
because we're gonna close
And there will be fireworks.
Lake in front. That's it, right? Lake in front.
Do we?
Court to church.
They didn't want them coming down Lake Street because this one wasn't wide enough, so they come down Church Street.
So you're asking that Lake Street be closed, right?
Yes.
No traffic.
Lights on the river.
Yes, right, yeah, Lake Street will be closed, you're right,
And Front Street?
and part of Front Street.
Yeah, because, no, that's all fine, we gotta get all this clear, because this particular permit only, mentions the parade, it doesn't, mention, oh, yes, it does, on the bottom, it says close Lake Street and Front Street from Court to Church, and it says half of Church Street. That is a part that the police department is generally not in favor of.
That's usually the way around.
But so that's a piece that they're not exactly on board with, but if, depending on, that could get added in, it depends on whether or not. It's difficult, when you close church, you've got to close page, up the page, so they don't come down front, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of cars there, can't go anywhere, it just requires other things. And, so anyway.
So we work that out with the chief.
Yeah, I'm gonna work that out with the chiefs, but be prepared that church will not be closed, and if it is closed, this won't solve it all. It's a Friday, and AutoZone deserves to be able to have their customers come in, so a lot of times when we close half of it, we let people come up Main Street of Church to the AutoZone and we close it there. But I don't know that that's what,
Yeah, Main Street's not involved, North Avenue's not involved. I don't believe it.
no, I'm only talking about Church Street, and I'm talking about if we close it, we would close half of it so that you could come up from Main Street, because that won't be closed, to get to AutoZone, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not necessarily going to be permission given,
We'll work it out. Whatever he wants. us
yeah,
to do.
thank you.
The Church Street thing causes a traffic issue. So like the
We
rest of
mostly do
the,
it because of the Elks, it's such a big,
That one intersection there, that's a degree
lot
of trouble,
of
but you know,
activities.
but somebody could be there.
maybe we station a fire.
We could have somebody there helping get people across the street. Now there's another piece of glitch, and that's the parade. So Academy down front turns right on Court, turns, I'm sorry, left on Court, turns right on Main, turns right on Church. And that's the end of this.
And then
Except now,
go back to the.
well, that's not on here.
Okay.
So we were talking about that. Well, now you got 87 ATVs sitting on Church Street. Well, how do they get back to the other place?
Well, they can't drive through the festival.
The whole idea was to try not to have them driving through the festival. That was the whole idea of going down Court, so they didn't go up Lake, and they didn't go on front.
That's a good question. How,
Yeah,
they end up stuck over there. And there are these things, I mean, they're not street legal vehicles. They can be driving around.
That's the route we took last year, and Waitrose was involved with that.
So how do we get them back to the county lot?
Without driving them up through the festival, up through Front Street. The whole idea, originally, they were supposed to drive down through Front Street, and we kind of tried to not have them go there.
I think they drove on Front Street.
They might very well have,
Back to
but
the
that was a thing that we tried not to do, I said. That was the thing we were looking to not do, is have things, just like we didn't particularly love having the road race down through the middle of the Strawberry Festival.
So how would you get them back?
That's a good question. That's a good question. How do they get back to the county office building?
How many of these vehicles are we talking about?
There's a lot.
Well, the first year we had 25, last year we only had about 20. Not a huge amount.
And how long is this event?
It takes about half an hour.
No, how long is the event afterwards?
Go all night, right? I mean, 7 to whatever
Yeah,
you do, fireworks.
The fireworks are at 9 o'clock.
This will probably start at 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
ATV parade's at 7:30.
I was gonna suggest having them park in the lot and people look at their vehicles and until the end of the thing, and then they can go back there.
Yeah, it's 10.
That's a long time. Never mind, 86 next.
You mean not drive through the,
And then there's a ton of traffic after. You don't want
Yeah.
driving around.
well, we just wouldn't have it if you did that.
How about making, which part?
I mean, if we just had to sit them in a lot. that
No,
would-
that's
that would- that
not
would-
practical for hours.
Although they could turn around and go back the same way.
Well, maybe I don't understand what you're telling me.
We're saying that we're not real pleased with the whole route, and then they get to Church Street, and then they drive through the festival up Front Street. That's the piece that's concerning.
And they're escorted with police. I mean, it's not like they're just flying through there.
They could turn around at Church Street.
And they've done that for 2 years now, 3
No problem.
years, I think.
We're
Well,
later.
you're
Church Street came back down front
There you
to
go.
the county lot.
We just send them, return them right on the same route and send them back, they won't drive through the crowd.
Right.
That'd be
You can have them
preferable.
turn around on Church and go back.
Right.
Yeah, we could do that, sure.
Another reason not to, set up.
Whatever we did last year that worked.
Go out Main to Page Medical.
Hey, can we work this out with the police rather than you guys try to figure it out? Cause he knows a lot more about it than I do, and you do, I think.
Yeah.
Everything, you may think this is all coming from me, everything I'm telling you is me sitting with Joe for 2 hours this afternoon. That doesn't mean that you can't talk to him and try and do whatever, but I'm telling you that this stuff is coming.
And I
Well, I
guess
mean, we'll go any route he wants us to go, we aren't hung up on it.
If we were going to turn around, and go back,
Go all the way up.
it would be better to turn around and go all the way up Main Street
Street.
instead of Court in front.
right, so back to the academy.
Go back, back to Academy, go back all the way up not go through the
Well,
festival.
the idea is for people to see these things and,
Oh, we did.
there won't be many people on Main Street.
By that point, the parade day.
I'm not talking about Main Street in both directions, I was talking about down front. People all get to see them come down front, they see them move up court, they get Main and whatever else. Then when they come back, they would go up Main, so they wouldn't retrace their steps. When you, I don't, you understand what I mean?
So you turn around with the outs and go back.
And you could say going back, but you wouldn't retrace your steps on court and in front of the courthouse and back up front. We just send them up Main Street. That's just that's something that's a thought. So should we leave that to the chief?
Yeah, or do we wanna just have them work that out? I mean, this thing's not till December. And
Who wants to come back, or submit a
a
final?
month or something like that.
That's not a bad idea, it's not a bad idea to come back the 3 weeks before the thing or something, so it's not the last second, and you told us all, and now here's a glitch we had, and can we change that's a good way to do it. So we can still give you a bunch of
We
permissions.
can do that.
We can still give you a bunch of permissions,
Okay.
because actually what we gave you back in last January was we gave you the dates for all these festivals, and we said that we wanted you to come back to us and talk to us about the details of them. So this is kind of what we're doing again. We're giving you further permission, if that's what we're doing, with just a couple of little details left.
Okay. Okay, so we have to bring it down.
So,
Plan.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
doesn't say when those streets are gonna be closed.
that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't say the time.
You know, Winchell did all that last year, and I'm not up
Yeah.
on all that.
And
so
Right.
he's
I'm
gone,
not
he's
either.
gone, so.
And
But
honestly,
Uda
like,
knows. She,
there's
she'll take
a couple events that should have those big plans that Winchell used to do, and this is probably one of them.
that. Yes, I think so.
So we should probably work that out before we
Well, we have a
say.
DOT plan, we have to submit and all that
Right.
jazz.
So that'll be the driving factors when you need to submit that DOT road closure.
Yeah.
Cause I think you need our approval before then.
You need it before that?
Jeff would know, but I think you might need our approval to
Before
submit
you send
that.
it to them.
Cause
State.
we're gonna send
Yeah,
it.
because you don't get to send it to them, we have to send it to them. You don't have the authority.
No, that's right, the police department sent it.
Right.
So that has.
Well, we're gonna send it in early November, so.
Okay.
we come back
Can,
about a month.
can we approve the event
Yeah, let's talk
for
about.
that date, and
let's-
then
But we already,
need more details on
We already
where we
did.
had the closure.
we can, Fran, but we already approved last January 16th, we approved these events on these days, we just didn't approve the details. So we've already approved that event for that day, we should talk about the event itself. We're only talking about the parade right now, we should also talk about the event. Yes, no?
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Okay.
What time do you think you wanna close it down for for the evenings?
Yeah,
That's a-
vendors have to set up.
I don't know all those things that just, the police took care of.
Yeah, I'm thinking we closed it at 4 and the event started technically at 5. I'm thinking we did that there too.
Well, do we wanna sort this out with OPD like in the next 2 weeks and then we'll talk about this?
Why
next
don't I
meeting?
come back to the first board meeting in November with the
Right.
final
Okay.
plans?
That'd be good.
Would that work?
Right, yeah, we'll get a copy of what Winchell did last year.
But,
That's a start point.
but that doesn't mean that that's necessarily what we're gonna do.
No, but it's a start
But,
point.
yeah, that's the reference. So, I do wanna spend another half a minute on it, so we're gonna figure out what hours, and we're also, but this isn't really the police's part, so this is our part. This particular thing, we usually have 8 or 10 police officers at.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of people at this one.
This has a pile of people at the fireworks, it goes late. And do you recall in the past whether you compensated the police department for officers on this one? I think you did on this one.
Same as Strawberry Fest.
Okay, so that will be one of the things. And then what are we doing on vendors on this one?
Yeah, we have members.
This one has.
Some food vendors.
So this one we have some food vendors.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like I remember last year we didn't have a lot of them, but we had a few of them on Front Street. Wasn't a ton.
The existing
Church
restaurants
or-
can't handle it.
They can't handle a big crowd. But
Yeah,
this is a pretty big crowd.
I don't know if we need help department permit for this one, Mike.
Yeah, they'd have to get all their health permits.
And
Well, no, I'm saying
the
for the
ambulance,
festival.
we usually have to have an ambulance or
Right.
something there.
Cause there's a certain number of people that trigger
Yeah,
something else.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 5,000 or more.
Right.
5,000.
And if we're gonna have
I think we're under that.
we do, I know there's a lot of stuff, and you gotta have an ambulance.
Well, we just figured it out last year, you know, how many people, at any one time, it doesn't have to be total, it's at any one time.
Right.
So I think we're under the 5,000.
I got no strawberry festival to do that.
Yeah, that's a different story.
So we're gonna have a degree of vendors, we're not gonna have a zillion billion of them, but we're gonna have some food vendors. Are we gonna have tchotchke vendors?
We have some.
I think we have a few.
Okay. And then the rest of it, we pretty much know, the fireworks. Obviously, this is always contingent on all the permits and stuff from the state, the fireworks, all that stuff.
We use courthouse square, you know, turn the lights on, have kids sing.
Right.
You know.
So that is a concern about traffic and people on courthouse. So what do we put on courthouse?
Where I put, like they have the singing, the tree lighting, right? Me and the Grinch, we light the tree.
And do we put that, does Wendy put up the music stage?
I know, we just had the Reeds come in with their floodlights, and they use the steps of the courthouse.
For kids singing or whatever we do. Do we have bands and stuff?
There's no bands in this one.
There's the lightning band, I think parades around up Front Street.
Yeah, but there's no like big band that plays.
But there's no huge musical group.
The reason I'm asking is because Wendy is the impresario extraordinaire. When she wants to start putting music together, she puts music together. So we just kind of like to know if this is gonna be a.
I think just a lot of
bunch
caroling,
of
kids going around caroling.
Right. This isn't a big, she doesn't get big bands that can play songs.
We just want to know what to expect.
It's also in December, so they'd be free.
Yeah. Thanks for spending the time on it.
We put up fencing on the courthouse square to keep the people from crossing into traffic. So last year we decided whether or not we were gonna close one side around the courthouse or not. So are we doing that?
We didn't last year.
Don't think we did it. I can picture a fire police guy there every year with his truck putting up yellow tape and cones and barricades for 2 hours beforehand. Yeah, I can picture that.
And I think they try to encourage truck traffic to go a different direction, cut down on some of the traffic. And then during the fireworks, they close the bridge.
We haven't everything is
temporarily.
Yeah, that's all standard.
So we're putting up the fencing so that people don't cross into traffic, you know, to contain them to the
We don't put up
sidewalks.
fencing.
So are we gonna close the road or not?
At this moment, that's not the ask or the plan.
So if there's no road closure, then we should put up fencing so people don't walk into the road.
We have not done that in the past. What we have done, as I said, was put up police barrier tape, which they don't respect. And then we put up the fencing. We put up the fencing over in front of the Tabor Trails building, which they didn't respect. So the fencing is not the most wonderful thing.
Well, we put it up by Draper Park, you know, so that the
We
fireworks
put it
can
up
go
there.
off.
We put it up there for the fireworks.
And-
We do, but we don't put it up the sides of the courthouse.
Well, we have had it in some past years, in our most recent past years.
For this thing or for something else?
This one.
Okay.
Right.
I do, because I'm the one who does it.
So that would be a
That's part of our.
public works department would decide that, or the police would decide that.
Right. So it'll be in your plan that we do.
In this plan, huh?
Yeah, you're right, Tom.
Kennedy.
Ms. Winchell Jr., you're right in the plan. So are we gonna?
Who is taking his position?
Well, he doesn't have an exact position. That was just a.
He volunteered to your group.
That was a task he took on. We don't have a blah, 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 blah title for that.
I told you now, maybe we need to
Yeah.
get him as a volunteer.
He did volunteer, he did say he would help with your life on the river, so I'll give him a call.
Right. There's just a couple big ones that we need.
But do understand, we appreciate his help, we appreciate him writing the things, but those are not things of authority, that's just what, those are suggestions of his, so he doesn't get to decide, and he just helps put it together. So do we need to make a motion, or are we just gonna,
I would say we just wait for
just say
more
come back, I'll tell the chief, and he is, he signed on this, let's put on this one.
Well, I'll meet with the chief in the next week.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
That's,
He's in town, right? I had a heck of a time trying to get a hold of him.
He is, he'll be here until the bonfire,
What
the
now?
bonfire, which is the 18th.
And then where's he go?
He has appointments down south.
goes work, probably for help.
Yeah.
Oh, for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's the problem.
Chief was willing to approve the lights on the river and approve, street closures based on all of the standard contingencies of, the state and the, fireworks and, what's IAP,
Incident action plan.
incident action plan. As long as there, whatever incident action plan that we have is in place and satisfactory, and that we have, the required number of police officers for the event, which of course taken care of by the HO. So other than that, he was willing to do this on his part, and now our part is something else. So, I'm done with that. But my part of it.
So we've got permission for the 2 events, and then I'll come back in November for the light concert.
Right, we'll have more info then.
Thank you.
The permission is forthcoming, it's just, it's the detail, we wanna make sure that we have, everybody's on the same page and we have it all. You know, I don't foresee you, I'm saying no,
Yeah, I don't see any issues.
we like to do it.
Get our plans together.
Thanks for listening.
Department heads, so these guys are, fire department.
So far for the year, we're at 250 calls, which is a 78% increase over calls last year. And we haven't dropped it. 8 for one-way truck still out of service. The parts are hopefully going to be here on Tuesday the 15th. Which time we'll go on for 3 weeks. I do have 2 new members for Charles.
Yeah. Can kill these 2 birds. Well, no killing. I stopped myself. All right, so we have Gabriel L. Gurney, otherwise known as Gabby, and she would like to join Company 5's my company. I know her, we know her. She's been gone through the gauntlet of approving.
All right, any discussion on Gabby?
Give me just a minute.
Are you good there, President of Company 5?
What's that?
Are you good?
No, I just wanted to see the thing.
We vote on Gabby. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yes.
And second membership application is for Caleb Ellis. He will be returning, and he'll be in Company 1. He's been put through the ringer of approval. And I'd like to make a motion for him to go finish into the back into the company.
Okay, any discussion on Caleb? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes. So it is written, so it shall be done.
No, thank you for volunteering.
Absolutely. One thing I did talk with Jeff, reminded him of the water department. He said that if we put a referendum on the next ballot to use the hydrants as we see fit, that can be done. I think that's something that we should look more into, because right now we can't train, we can't fill our trucks.
I agree.
Eric, I was having trouble hearing you. See him?
Definitely letting him. approach me is that if we put a referendum on the next ballot that allows the residents to vote yes or no about letting the fire department use the hydrants as we see fit.
But who pays what cost for that?
It would stay the same cost as far as the residents paying for it.
Do we need to have a referendum to do that rather than?
That's what he said.
No, I hear you, but rather than them just saying, oh, why don't, fire department, you can do it, we have to, oh, do it, I wonder if that's a legality.
It's something with the way that now that state law paying for the water bills.
I mean, I haven't seen anything, I mean, I haven't looked at that question specifically to know what process there would be, but if Jeff is saying that's a possibility, then sure, maybe it is a possibility, I guess I'd have to.
Can I look into it forward?
Yeah, look into it,
Yeah.
let me find, send it to me.
Cause something doesn't sound right there.
Yeah, he approached me this weekend because he's getting a bad rap.
Right.
Well, then maybe,
Yeah.
well,
Well, he feels he's getting a bad rap, but it's true. We can't even crack a fire hydrant without him coming down and scolding us. And it's really hindered our training abilities.
Right. Yeah, and helping other, our mutual aid and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Send it to me.
Yes,
Okay.
because that's an option.
Yeah.
yeah, and once again, we're just repeating it, and the trick is, yeah, if we have a referendum, then we can use it, and then do they add something to the people's bill
Right.
for that privilege? That's the thing we want to wait on.
Make sure we research all the hoops.
Yeah.
The town fire company.
I get it from the town of Owego.
Right.
That's where we've been,
They,
that's where we've been filling out.
I was gonna say what they sell to us.
We go to 38 at Guthrie, and their water department says fill up. Well, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Right. We work together.
Well, maybe we need to, look at sending, a request to the town of Owego to have official right to use their water. Well.
Fire department's already worked it out.
Yeah. I worked it out.
Okay.
Guthrie is excellent, and if we can have it in the village.
If I can do the referendum thing, that's a good idea.
Okay. I'll work on that. Thank you.
I just want to make mention that the chief has been brought up to speed with the DRI project with the fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Fire station, so. Yeah.
We're just waiting on NICEAG for the update.
Yep.
Everything's ready to go. NICEAG. We're changing the way the power is supplied on North Avenue. They're running it from the opposite direction, so they've got to do work on the transformer in front of the fire station. And they won't give us the permit to put the scaffolding up until their work is done. Because they don't want our scaffolding in the way of their work. That we know won't happen very quick, I'm sure.
And the nice thing is switching which grid that comes from.
They are.
I hope it's to our advantage so that when there's outages, it's better for us.
It's supposed to be. We'll see.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Speaking of NICEAG. Yeah.
So, for the month of September, we had 119 calls, 16 were mutually given. So far this month, we've got 21 calls and 2 have been mutually that we have given. We don't have any new members or resignations. As far as our vehicles go, 2031's got 27,000 miles, no issues. 2032's got 145,000 miles. We just got it back from Simmons Rockwell and got the repairs made, so that's back in service. 2033's got 159,000 miles. The stripper repairs have been made, and our bid for 2034 has been accepted. And so I'm in the process of doing the paperwork and getting the check tomorrow to go pick it up tomorrow night. So, thank you very much for.
It was up in Gilbertsville, is that where it was?
Yes. And we were able to get it for less than you guys authorized, which is even better.
That was part of your job.
Yeah. So we did.
Much closer to final bid.
122.34.
Can you say that again?
122.034.
And the 2034 came.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'd like to say thank you for your support during the bid process of the ambulance, and our members greatly appreciate it. As far as 2051 goes, we have 49,000 miles, and we're still working on scheduling the body repairs and that kind of stuff. And then with the video laryngoscopes, I believe the checks have been sent out, and we're waiting to hear back from them. Somebody was supposed to follow up with them today to find out what the next steps are and see if they're shipped and that kind of stuff, but I haven't heard anything. So we're still tracking those down. And
Oh, this answers my question on the payment of bills. Body repair complete, what happened to 2031?
so we've had it for 10 years, and we want to keep it for another 10 years. And it started having some rust in some spots and that kind of thing, so we wanted to get it cleaned up and fixed so it will last us another 10 years without any significant rust and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so with that, the next step is we want to get the body work or the graphics and stuff fixed so that way it matches the rest of the fleet. And there's some other things with like charging and that kind of stuff we want to fix. We need to have a charger for the monitor and for the suction and flashlights and that kind of stuff, which we currently don't have. They have to take the stuff out, plug it in, and then charge it, put it back in the truck, and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna ultimately put a shoreline into it so it'll be able to charge just in the truck, and then it ejects just like Daniels is doing it. Starts up.
I just saw a bill from CarStar, and I called the police department saying, what do we do to a Tahoe?
We don't know the Tahoe.
We don't have a 2013, oh, we're talking about.
Yeah, so it was, preventive maintenance to make sure it lasts another 10 years. So that's that.
Okay.
Any questions?
So you guys are happy with 34,
Yeah. We'll have it tomorrow if you want to come take a look at it. We'll
Great.
tomorrow night. We gotta do, change the graphics on it and swap a couple lights out and that kind of stuff.
Tomorrow night?
Well, that's what I'm going to pick it up tomorrow night.
We'll still be here, so.
Hey, wants to get out of here.
Partner life.
We'll be on
All right.
stay.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Hey, Mike, once again, thank you. Let me know you've been plunged into this position. Doing an
Doing a
excellent
great
job.
job.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. You're welcome.
DPW.
I handed out to everyone for the traffic signal quotes. Yeah.
So only traffic light we all.
Exactly. So he doesn't know exactly what is wrong with it, but he thinks it's shorting out up in the top of the pole system. And it's so old and outdated. So you need to choose what we want to do. Before you ask, I don't know if we can go through all red. I know it can be a blinking to red, but I don't know if we can do all red. So before you ask that question. But you're gonna have to make that decision soon.
Freddie, what do you mean it have to be all red?
Well, some people's asked, can we just have a four-way stop?
Yeah.
I thought it was a four-way stop.
No, we can put stop signs, we take that up with stop signs. You can do whatever you guys wanna do.
I think it should be a four-way red.
We can't, well, if you're doing a stop sign, yes, you can't
Just
do it
solid
all
red
red.
all the time?
No, you can't do it because it's red.
Exactly. Oh, you call that, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Flashing you.
So, what are we gonna do? You guys wanna think about it, talk about it, whatever you wanna do?
Is that state
Yeah,
road?
full stop sign.
No, we're just short of the state.
Good.
It's our road, we do whatever we want, it's the only traffic light we own. The state owns every other
Time
traffic
light,
light.
full stop sign. Full white.
That's a good way. I love.
So, could we try it, do we have, like,
Trial
stop signs? Like, can we turn the light off and put stop signs there and see what happens?
Testing.
Yeah, we can get the bigger signs, the 4-foot signs.
I can tell you that,
Concrete
put up those mobile signs.
I can just put them on the pole.
I think that's dangerous. Give my opinion, I like the red and yellow, there's one glitch that I see, but I like the red and yellow.
Well, there's definitely a glitch, because you don't know that it's red and yellow.
The glitch is somebody coming down to church
And I
And
say
they're
this 'cause
stopping.
I drove through one in Ithaca Friday night that was four reds, and I thought it was red and yellow.
Wait a minute, you thought it was red and yellow, it was four red? That's not the glitch.
I didn't stop.
No, that's not the glitch, Mike. The glitch is the other way around. If somebody's coming up church on the blinking red, and they stop, and they see somebody coming down
Right,
Main, and they think that but they're not there yet, and they think they have a red, and so they start to pull out, and they didn't have a red, they have a yellow, that's the glitch.
That was my, I stopped and then went, and then the other car was still coming.
You say that was a four-way red.
No, it was a red and yellow. Well, that one was not, it was red and yellow.
Okay.
And I thought it was a four-way red, and it was not.
Yeah, I mean, the good news about stop signs is when you see one, you stop.
Right.
At least you should, because everyone knows what they are. If we have four stop
Put
signs.
right there, four-way stop.
Usually on the hall, they say underneath, they say hallway stop.
Right.
I'm so conditioned out here doing that, turn on right, or red here. I was in Queens over the weekend. I almost did that, caught myself.
No, you can't.
You can't do it.
So somewhere it's short, cause it'd be working for like 4 to 6 days, then we'd have to go reset it, now it's about half hour. So it's short somewhere, and nobody knows where.
But when the short comes, it turns to blinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, we obviously don't want to keep going and resetting it to get it to regular.
Right.
It won't stay.
Yeah, it's been going on for many, many years.
Fix it.
It's only getting worse.
It's getting worse and it's getting more out. We all feel that way, right? Get wore out.
Old and wore out.
That's right. So, I don't know, I'll wait to hear from you guys. You wanna talk about it at some point? What are you gonna do?
What do you have on the sheet? There's like 3 bids.
Yeah, well, no, that is from Syracuse Signal System out of Syracuse, and that's your 3 options.
Yeah. What are the options that they are giving us?
It tells you.
Yeah, but like, what is it?
That's all electrical bull crap. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I don't know anything about electrical.
The most expensive one puts trips in the, like on Church Street.
Tripping, so Church Street, we go with tripping. And it'll be just that line, tripping.
Right.
Right, so that it wouldn't be electrical telling it to trip.
It would be green on Main Street until somebody.
Trips it. And then whatever the program that has for the trip. Just changing something for 3 seconds, sure wish the state would fix the trip on Fox and North.
I know.
But,
It takes forever.
yeah.
There's no way to sign our light into the system. Works independent.
They all work independently.
There's no trip on ours.
We can have ours timed so that all of ours will turn green in it.
So the threshold for competitive bidding a purchase contract like this is $20,000.
If you take the third one.
And the second.
We could potentially just replace existing.
But who's to say it's guaranteed it's gonna fix it?
Yeah. Another year, we'll fix it again.
Yeah. That's 20 grand still.
Yeah, you're still working on it over and over and over.
I like the four-way stop idea.
Sounds cheap.
Sounds very much cheaper.
Nothing says you can't install a system control device there in the future.
Rusty?
Just me, I'd like us to play with the red and yellow for a little longer. One thing, if we put the stop signs in, we need to take that light out. Because if somebody looks up there and sees that light and sees nothing on it, they're not looking around for that stop sign. That would be problematic.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, and when we take it out, now we're kind of committed there.
Agreed.
So I'd kind of like to play with the red, yellow.
We can, but what I'm asking is, I don't know how long that will last.
Well, that's easy. If it doesn't last,
Then you're screwed because you don't have something up to stop anything.
well, if it doesn't last, then we gotta put the stop signs up.
But in that meantime, because you gotta take everything out, it's not gonna be like 5 minutes, you can have stop signs up. That's
It's
all I'm
still
saying.
right on the street, stop.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be a help.
Yeah, okay.
Or signs leading up to that.
Yeah, okay.
You're about to stop.
Yeah, okay.
we'd have to do a study, but what if you only put stop signs on Church Street? Right now, basically, that's how it is, right? It's yellow on Main Street, and red on Church Street.
Correct.
That's that's kind of like what we have now with the red, yellow. If we just had stop signs on Church Street and you didn't have to stop on Main. I will tell you a bad thing that most folks aren't.
Like, if that light's there for a reason,
But most folks aren't clear on this. We have more accidents on that corner than you would think. In fact, that's a corner where we probably have more, in the last 30, 40, 50 years, we probably had more accidents there than anywhere. They're weird. So they're not big smashing, killing smashes, but we've had more than you would have thought.
Stop sign on Page Street. That's on Main Street.
Right, it's the same.
Same thing, one block down.
Yeah,
I like that, I kinda like that better than four-way stop.
If we did something like that, could we put up signs saying new traffic signals or something so that people would know?
Well, before that, I would put up a, stop sign ahead sign.
Stop ahead.
Yeah.
And then underneath, no, I can't put four ways. Can I have it on?
Right.
You'd have to be on Church.
Be a normal stop sign then. Yep. Although knowing it's not working and we're not fixing it, you could put those stop signs on Church, because it's red. Right, normally when they take a traffic light out, they have to over the west side there. Right, they have the stop signs up and the traffic light's still there.
Yep.
And there's signs that say, light will be removed or whatever.
Yeah, or like intersection under study for removal of traffic signal.
Look over here, look over here, look over here, don't watch where you're going.
Yeah, because people are gonna have trouble with
3 months later, they took out the light.
Or those that were here when that traffic light was first installed.
Right. I mean, you can definitely do it, it's just.
And I think they had a blinking while they were kind of off, but still there.
I don't remember.
I can get with Ron Romanowski and find out what his thought would be for that.
Yeah.
I can ask him.
Let's think about that. Let's think about that a little bit. I know, not think about talking to somebody. Let's not make the decision tonight. Let's think about that.
Okay. So we open up.
With these guys.
Oh,
yeah.
You good with that?
I think we should check into that.
Let me check. I'll check with Ron. Oh, before I go any further, we are starting.
This is just a side question, but if we completely replace the box, right, the option A, B, and C, is there any other people we can, do we have to stick with?
Everything that I've looked up and what we have done in the future with the past with Jeff and everything, it's always been with these people. I have no idea.
That might be a Ron question too. They have a lot more traffic lights.
Well, they have their own division.
Right. They may know.
That can happen.
I would suspect that middle option, when we talk to them again, will become $19,880.
Yeah.
When they know that it's gotta be under 20.
Yeah, right. So, are we good with that?
Pick his hand up.
I'll look into it more.
I just wanted to point out that there is that bend or kink in the post. And from a safety perspective, someday that thing could fail. Maybe you put more weight on it with a new traffic signal and maybe it just ages out, but if there's damage to what's there already physically in the.
Were we gonna put a new signal in or just new electronics?
New electronics.
Just new electronics.
I'm saying that post is still there and it's still got a bend in it.
No, but I'm just saying, we're not gonna put a new heavier signal, we're just gonna put some electronics
Okay,
inside.
well, you
Put a microchip in. No, it could break and fall.
Just thought that up. Thank you.
Something else to look at with all this.
Yeah, it was hit years ago.
It's got that, but the full bottom piece is still in good shape. You good now? Move on to the next?
Yeah.
Alright, so I did Nate's request and we opened up the bids for the cemetery.
Yeah. There's on my list of stuff not to forget.
Alright, buddy. So, Reeves Construction were the only ones to bid on it. And it came in at 163.
I'd like, yeah, I've got figures I'd like to go over. Okay, well, I'll give, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Prepared all that. You should keep this.
Okay, I'm gonna go over that. Yeah, unfortunately, I used blue ink and it didn't copy that well. Gotta stay with black ink. Okay, the final,
Yeah, Fran, I'll get to you here in a minute.
okay, the final report on the Evergreen parking lot, okay? We need to start there. It was 180 foot by 22 foot. There was a grant given, to the Friends of Owego Evergreen by the Wagner Foundation of $7,000, okay? Lofty Stone, we got 94 ton. They gave it to us for free. All they wanted was a hauling fee. Okay, the hauling fee was $6 a ton, and it's normally $27 a ton. So they gave us a break there too. So I mean, so savings overall with the stone and the hauling fee, we saved $4,400. Now the geofabric was donated by Wagner Lumber, so that was free. There were two very good sized white oak trees that were cut down that were in perfect condition. And they got sold to a lumber company for $1,563. Okay? So, out of the $7,000, add to that 1,563, the hauling fee altogether from Lofty was 1,256. So we started out with 7,000 and we end up with $7,307. We made money.
I want some projects like
Okay, so the Friends of Owego Evergreen met this morning. I met with them. Okay, so originally we were going to have the bid from Reeves back in June and was approved 103,000. Okay, what's current? Well, at our last bank account that we had, I'm sure it's more now, but we had $83,052 in the Evergreen Cemetery CD. And we have $38,260 in the Evergreen Reserve Fund. Okay, so if we took those from the 103,000, we have a balance of 18,312. Okay, so we knock it up to 163,000. Currently, there's a 60,000 we have to cover. Les Wagner, out of his personal account, is donating to the Friends of Evergreen $30,000. We have the 7,000 plus left from the parking, and so the Friends of Evergreen have they're going to donate a maximum of 12,000 over the that 30,000 that Les is giving. So that's 18,000 that we would need to take out of the village funds of the $18,312. So in that Evergreen Reserve Fund, we would have a balance of $312. That's before the interest that is being taken out of the perpetual care fund. So, I don't think anybody should complain about. I'll give a copy to this to Fred and to Rod.
Fran, I want to ask you a couple of quick questions, because I just missed a couple of numbers there.
Sure.
So you got 83 in the one account and 38 in the other account.
Yeah.
Were we gonna use all of that?
All except $312.
Okay, so that would be 121,000. 83 and
Okay.
38. Okay, and it's 163 for the project. So that's a total of 42,000 that we don't have.
Right.
And so Wags is gonna come up with 37.
Well,
The 30 and the 7.
however you want to, he already, the Wagner Foundation already gave $7,000.
We're gonna use that.
Yes.
And he's gonna come up with 30 more.
He's gonna.
So that's 37 off of that 42. That only leaves 5,000 that we're looking to add. Am I missing that? Did I get the numbers right?
No, 42 minus 30 is 12.
Yeah, except it's 37. It's not minus 30, it's minus 37. The WAG's 30 and the WAG's 7.
Okay, yeah, well, okay. You're looking at it that way. Okay.
I don't know what we want to do.
Okay, the Friends, the $7,000 came from the Wagner Foundation.
Okay.
Was given to the Friends a couple months ago.
Okay.
So they already had that money.
Okay.
Les Wagner is taking out of his own checking account $30,000. He's also putting it through the Friends, because that way you don't have to worry about taxes. They're a 501c3. Okay, and so then the Friends, out of other funds they have, are giving another $5,000.
And that's it. Oh, good. Then that's the total number. I must not have been getting it before. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was something
Well,
like
see, I
$7,000,
separated that
$18,000
$7,000 out, because one is from the foundation, the other's out of his own checking. Yeah.
So
that we've got the money.
So you don't need any village money. You started to say something about $18,000
Well, yes,
village
no,
money.
we
I
need
didn't get it.
Well, other than it's already in the account. Because we're draining
Okay, into the reserve.
the CD and the reserve.
We're draining them.
Right. That's the
Okay,
village.
I'll show you what I did. I want to keep a copy of this.
Yeah.
So my only question on this is the CD ready to be cashed out?
Yeah, I think the CD.
And when we're talking about reserves, are we allowed to use it?
Of this.
Right.
I like your accounting.
Typically, a reserve fund takes us months to use.
Not months, but.
Well, we haven't used it, and we'd like to keep that account open so that as other projects for the cemetery come along, we've got that money to
Sometimes there has to be,
seed fund.
sometimes there has to be a public hearing and a referendum and whatever.
I think when you're using a reserve fund like that, and the purpose for using the money is something that would be subject to
You understand?
referendum if you were borrowing for it.
Okay.
It's subject to permissive referendum.
As long as I'm over there.
Most of your reserve funds
You want
require that type of analysis where you pass it, but it's subject to permissive referendum. You frequently have been using your repair reserves that require a public hearing before using. If you don't have a public hearing, then you have to pay yourself back within 2 years. So it's most likely that this would be subject to a permissive referendum.
Which would mean we can't pay the bill for 30 years.
Right, 30 days.
Well, Paul Reeves said he would, see what's gonna be happening is, 42,000 will be coming from the Friends. Okay, they'll be paying that to the contractor. So it's 18,000 that we're talking about.
Yeah, and so that would be subject to, I think, a permissive referendum to utilize monies from the reserve fund for it, right? So it's just adopting it by motion tonight, subject to permissive referendum, and Rod's office publishes a notice in the newspaper, 30 days goes by, you can pay it.
Yeah.
Using that.
Well, Paul Reeves said he would wait.
Fred, you're on board with that, Paul? If we
Yes,
have the
I was there
permissive
when
part of the
Paul
money.
and Les were talking about it. That Paul would hold it.
That's nice. But I don't want it to be Paul and Les talking about it, I want it to be Paul and us talking about it.
I understand it, but they had to make the deal first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, that's why she's coming to you and telling you this.
Yeah, it's just saying that Paul said he would wait. He understands it's involved in balancing the finances. He would wait on that 18,000 from us.
Well, it's more than that, it's 80.
30, yeah, no, it's 38.
38, whatever's in the reserve.
One's a CD, one's a reserve.
So the CD, we don't have to have any permission to spend, we can spend that. Is that what we're saying?
As long as it's not a reserve fund.
Not a reserve.
Okay.
The 38 is a reserve, so that's the money we gotta have the permission for, it's the 38.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, just count as unappropriated.
So you're gonna write that up, Rod?
You gotta make a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, so you make a motion, we gotta publish it. But it's-
Well, are we gonna accept the bid? That's the first thing.
Well, all right, we got a motion to accept. the
Yeah,
bid.
I propose that we accept the bid from, Reeves Construction for $163,000 to do the paving all the way loop around the,
In the ditch work.
yeah, and ditch work.
Second.
Any other discussion on the bid itself? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
And yes. Now we gotta figure out who paid the bid.
Okay, I propose that we close out the CD, it's somewhere around 83,000, maybe it's 84 now with another month's interest or whatever. But whatever it is, that we close that out and use that towards the, paving in the cemetery.
Can we close that CD, how is it month to month, is it year to year?
It's been sitting there for 4 or 5 years, so it's just kind of been rolling over.
No, that's not what I'm asking, I'm asking.
We can close out anytime.
Close out anytime, we don't pay a significant penalty or anything, we can get out of it.
Somebody second
We'll
that?
just close it right out in time.
Okay, so we don't need to leave anything in that, that's fine.
I'll second.
Okay, so we close the CD and use that unappropriated fund balance towards the paving. Rusty?
And we also wanna.
Well, that's the
They're making them a
we'll do
piece of
that
it.
One piece of that, okay, goes up.
Of approximately 84 grand and whatever the CD is.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, now the last piece of it is the reserve.
Okay, we need to have I propose we have a permissive referendum to, take.
That's not how you do that.
You would use it
It's subject to a permissive referendum.
Subject to a
We don't say
permissive
that.
referendum. That we use of the current balance of the, Evergreen Reserve Fund, which is, account 5315.
Did you wanna use the whole amount or leave some? Did you say?
We wanna leave, okay, it all depends on, okay, how much you use is gonna depend on how much the CD covers, okay? And, we wanna keep that account open.
Then you don't wanna close.
No, we don't wanna close it, because you're taking the interest from the perpetual care fund and putting it in that account.
Brandon, I think the only thing that needs to be said is just a motion to utilize.
All up.
To cover the balance.
Yeah, the balance of the amount payment owed to
Reeves.
And, I mean,
It can't be that because there's still more money has to come out of the other thing.
well, so I mean, what is the maximum amount here? Like, it's better to phrase it that way.
How about we use all of us?
25,000, we have to identify a specific amount in the
Okay.
permissive referendum notice. The public has to know how much we're doing it, and we can't make them do math. We have to do math.
Rodney, how much we got in there?
38,000 something.
Right now, it's, 38,260.
So are
That's
you
before,
planning to
you
use
know,
all that
whatever
money?
interest
No,
was there in the last month.
Up to 38,000.
Up to, let's go
Up to 38,000.
Then you still got 260 bucks.
So
Right.
a motion
Up
to utilize not to exceed $38,000 of reserve, Evergreen Cemetery Reserve Fund monies to pay or to finance a portion of the capital projects, the Evergreen Cemetery paving project. There you go.
I'll second that.
That's
You're
good.
You're making
You're making the motion.
I can't make
You can't make the motion and second.
Our ventriloquist over here.
Okay.
Who's second that?
I'll second it.
Charles.
Okay, and, the balance of the.
Wait for it, we're gonna vote on that if it's okay.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah, let's vote on that. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Fran.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles. Yes. And yes.
And I don't think we have to vote on it. I just stayed in there that, maximum of, 42,000 is coming from the Friends of Evergreen to pay towards this. Now, we say maximum because depending on how the rest of these figures work out, it may be less than 42,000, maybe a little bit less. Okay?
How do we say that? Do we accept the gift, or is there a way to say that?
Well, they will be paying it directly to the contractor.
the money should come to the village.
All right.
The village should be the one paying the contractor, not.
Because we accepted the bid from the contractor for the whole amount.
Okay.
So once Evergreen Cemetery makes the donation to the village, then it just is, I mean, monies that are earmarked for this project, but then it's just utilizing the donated funds equal to whatever the exact amount is that has been donated, plus the monies from the reserve fund, plus whatever else it is. Now, I mean, the way that I think the correct way of talking about it is the plan of financing for the capital project is to utilize up to $42,000 of monies being donated and hereby accepted from Evergreen Cemetery.
Friends of Evergreen.
Friends of Evergreen Cemetery. Use of $38,000, not to exceed $38,000 from the Evergreen Cemetery Reserve Fund. And then, what was the other bucket? CD. And then utilizing the CD identified as has already been described, and that's the plan of financing.
So we've got two pieces that already passed in an motion.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pass the third piece.
Yeah, the only variable is, you know, how much interest that, CD has earned in the last month. That will determine how much comes from the Friends of Owego.
When we pay them, whatever we got extra, we'll go back to donation.
What do you got, Peter?
I don't understand, I couldn't hear you, Nate, about the payment from the Friends.
So because you're donating, because the Friends of Evergreen Cemetery are donating money to the village of Owego, it needs to hit.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
Well, then you can go, in the past, these projects, we paid the contractors directly. And we can't finance the village.
So I was unaware of that. The proper procedure is for nonprofits that are raising monies for purchases and projects with the village, that the monies hit the village books. You know, like we should not be having third parties paying for things that the village is responsible for. Right?
We paid Forest Excavating directly for the creation of the chapel parking lot.
Okay, well, I think that shouldn't have happened. I think the appropriate mechanism is the monies hit the village books, because then there's an accurate accounting of the monies actually being donated to the village, that the village board is accepting those monies, that it's records and that there's an expense going out. Otherwise, what we'll have is a contract with Reeves and Son or whoever that says we're paying $160,000 and we're gonna not be able to show that we actually paid them
Okay.
$160,000. We're missing $42,000 of it.
That makes sense.
If the analogy will help, when the EMS, through their nonprofit, goes out and gets a grant and gets something, they either donate that piece of equipment to the village, or they donate the money to the village to buy that piece of equipment. So that's that's the model, that's what we believe that Nate is saying needs to be done. Now, you guys haven't done it that way in the past, and the complication here might be if you bought one thing, like you paid for the thing at the chapel there. But you paid for that one thing and you paid for all of it. This thing is a compilation of the village paying for some of it and you paying for some of it. You're not just paying for that one thing, because when you paid for that one thing at the chapel, you donated that to the village. This thing is he's saying it's more complicated than that, and you need to donate the money to the village to pay for it. I don't know, that's the way I'm seeing it. I don't know if
Right,
that's.
I understand that completely.
Okay.
I'll have to go back to our board.
Whether you guys can do that, or whether you want to do that, or whether you're allowed to do that.
There were a number of individuals donating in anticipation of the Friends paying the contractor directly. Joan Hunt gave $5,000, Les gave $30,000. There are 7,000 that we're repurposing. So, we haven't financed the village in the past.
One way you may be able to get around, let me just throw this one in, I'll be done. One way you may be able to get around this is when your corporation wants to give that money to us, it is earmarked for this specific purpose only. So you didn't give us money, you gave us money in that earmarking to pay that contractor, but that might be a way for you to get around those folks thinking that you're just giving the village money. No, it's just what we said for it, and here, it's just the way we have to do it. That's a thought of way you might be able to handle that.
That can definitely happen.
Yeah, and I'll echo, reinforce what Rusty said. Any monies that are ever donated to the village have to be used for the purpose that the group or person has donated it to the village. So actually, the comment of, well, we'll use whatever we need to finish paying the project once we know how much interest has been accrued, and then the rest of it, once the project is done, gets reimbursed back to the Friends. We're not going to just keep it or do whatever with it. It has to go back because our project is over. We don't need it anymore. And the donation was to cover the project. The project's done. Here's the rest of your money back.
Yeah, no, I understand what you were saying too. I mean, we take on a project where we say we're paying $163,000 and there's 42,000 that's unaccounted for.
Right.
So yeah, the books have to show it all.
I do have one question though, Nate. On the bid package, it said spring starting it. Can the contractor start it earlier if he can?
If you want to. I mean, I'm going to say up to you and what you think's
Okay.
appropriate for it.
All right. I just didn't know if that was the law.
I think the way we phrased it was anticipated that work would start in the spring.
Okay.
Just like you and I talked about, we might lose it, tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so he's not thinking about doing it this fall.
No, but he has, if he's too busy because he's a contractor trying to get all their stuff done, that's why we put that in the bid so that they had until spring, or they could start it in spring. Because the contractors now are trying to button up everything. So I just wanted to clarify that.
I don't really, but.
Peter needs to talk to him.
On the Tioga Downs grant that we requested permission to write, the Tioga Downs Foundation asks us to specifically who's going to manage the funds and who's going to supervise the construction. So if I don't know what they'd say if we say, oh, we're giving it to the village.
This is back to the 3,000 from the town.
Right.
So, in that case,
That's different.
if the whole thing was under $3,000 and you could do the whole project, I think that would be fine.
But I guess I was trying to make a more general point that the foundations have stipulations, about the management, of the project. In the case of, yeah, I don't want to get into a specific one, but I'm concerned for future grant writing, that if we say, I don't know what they say.
So using the paving project as an example, you're funding only a portion of it, and the village is managing and overseeing the entirety of that project. This other grant is $3,000 to do some electrical work, lights. If it's really that cheap, theoretically, then the village hires the Friends of Evergreen Cemetery to perform the work, and then if Evergreen Cemetery subcontracts out that work to whomever, then that's you folks overseeing it. We wouldn't be involved directly in it like that. You would have to pay prevailing wage on it because it's a public project, but that's just something that you have to do anyway.
Well, so that statement puts, all the grant writing in question.
Well, so we can have a conversation about it. Now we're not going to resolve all that right now, but it sounds like there's room for a conversation at the end.
Yeah. So you get the 3,000 from the towns, they give it to you. You come to us and ask us, can we put electricity in the thing? And we want to do it as a donation. We say, yeah, you can put electricity in the thing. You put the electricity in the thing.
The only hitch is they saying if it's our building, it has to be prevailing wage, but.
Well, then you have to figure out how much it's gonna be and what you gotta pay. But that's, once again, that's a whole project, so you're gonna pay for that whole project. Does that?
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying.
all of those things.
It's back to your corporation.
I understand everything you said. These granting agencies have specific stipulations that we have to sign on to. And in the case of the 42 for the paving, those are essentially individuals who have given the Friends money. So we're not tied in by funding agency stipulations. But for example, we want to write a grant next year to restore the walls in Evergreen that were destroyed. And that's a large money project. Can I write a grant for that under these, if we don't have control, and if we have to, well, for example, the chapel parking lot, Lofty and Root bid $56,000. Reeves offered to do it for 18,000. The difference, if we're required to, I'm not going to extend the meeting. We'll have a different conversation. But I do worry it puts all grant writing in question.
We can figure all that out. We'll work with Nate. We'll figure it out.
I have a question for Nate. Like, he's just talking about that parking, area by the mortuary chapel. That was not prevailing wage. We got Fred got a contract with Forrest and got it done. And the same with the parking lot up in Evergreen. That was not paid prevailing wage.
Okay, Fran, well,
that one was done by the village staff, so it wasn't affected by the prevailing wage. But we don't know that Forrest wasn't prevailing wage. We just don't know.
We don't know that.
Yeah, so I'm not prepared to have a conversation about that right now, Fran. I think I can say generically, if third parties are being used to perform public work, then prevailing wage must be.
Gotcha.
If actually, let me clarify that even further. Third parties are performing work on public works projects, and they themselves are not volunteers, then you must pay prevailing wage. And
That takes care of WAGs, and everything was a volunteer, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
if a company is donating their employees' time, so things like Reeves and Son offering to do the project for, at a discount, those employees are being paid, they're not volunteering their services, they have to be paid prevailing wage.
Okay, well, just one other comment here on the paving. I mean, it doesn't happen until spring, we're gonna have even more interest on those two accounts.
It's likely to happen in the fourth spring, because Paul
Yeah.
said that he, that, when
Hopefully
we talked
it'll
to him,
happen
we
this
said, if we
fall.
talk on this, if we put this together on the sixth, do you think you can do it? He said, yeah, I think I can do that. That's correct.
Well, I mean, if Fred finds out tomorrow that Reeves can do it next week, we need to get it in the penny saver and the Gazette, that it's gonna, cemetery's gonna be closed for that week.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a different issue.
And that's thoughtful,
Okay.
but that's not a law.
I have a question for Fran about you said we cut down 2 trees in the cemetery and we sold them for profit. Who collected that money? Was it the village, or it sounds like it went to the Friends of the Evergreen as their donation? And that's village property, so who decided that you could have the trees cut down? They weren't in the parking lot area, and sell them.
I agree with you. That was my first response too. The trees belong to the village. The money should have been given to the village. It was given to the Friends. So I mean, in the long run, there's what did I say? The difference of about $300.
So you sold the
Between what it costs to do the project and the difference between what was, the trees were sold.
Who said you could select trees to cut down?
Because it
It's
was
like a
part of the
historic
parking area.
registered cemetery, and it's like, who said that somebody could come in and cut our trees down there?
Well, Fred had, was in charge of the project. As far as what trees were cut down and what weren't. It's just, these were valued hardwoods. They weren't skinny little pines.
Well, one was rotted.
Yes, but that's like the board's decision about, the sale of our property and, what we want to do with it.
I mean, as far as which trees to cut down, it's probably Fred's choice, but the sale is more our choice.
Right, and it wasn't the volunteers to decide that for us.
Without taking this very far, it's that same thing that we say in here many times. We're not doing, all of us, a very good job at following the processes. We continue to do that in all kinds of places and ways, and we need to do a better job of that.
Yep, I agree.
Whether or not we're going to do anything about it, we're certainly going to bring it up and say, come on, everybody, pay better attention to what, when there's a person that's in charge, go get their permission from them, or process. That's your point, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a historic cemetery, we're doing work in it, and none of it's recorded. We did
Fred
the
decided
paving.
which trees should come down.
Yeah, but we're not recording it, we're not recording our maintenance. The only record we have of the whole project is the town of Owego historian's narrative of it. We don't have drawings, we don't have a new map for the road, we don't have
Road's
on a
gonna remain the
survey.
same, it's not gonna change.
Well, there's a new parking lot.
Yeah.
That's 180 feet by 22 feet. That did change a whole lot of the survey of the ground there.
and the map.
Maybe we need a new map.
Well, we went over this last time.
Well, we went over by approving the already done project. But we didn't do anything about noting that we're not having DPW enforce the maintenance logs and, you know, keeping the records of all improvements to the ditch work and the roads.
Well, that's up to the DPW. Fred was in charge.
The village historian is creating a new map of the cemetery. She's working on
Village
that
historian.
in detail.
Right, but not our paid director of public works to keep the official record of our roads and our parks. And those are roads in our cemetery is our park, and we're supposed to maintain them and keep records.
So, we're gonna get off this, the balance, which we talked about, the balance between process and the fabulous work that so many people are doing and so many are volunteering their time and their money and their energy. Let's find the balance, let's make sure we do that.
Yep.
Because we sure the crap don't wanna discourage the people that are doing all this from doing it, because we appreciate it all. Just like Pat sits here and has to listen to me fuss about process, and she's working her little 90-year-old butt off to try and put these affairs together, but she still has to listen to me say, well, we need to do this orderly in the process way. So that's all this is. We need to do better.
All right.
Okay?
Can we move on?
Yep.
Let's see, some department reports. So I have, as far as it's going, from the judge, he would like us to approve him going out for JCAP grant, which is up to $30,000. We do it every year. He gets it every year. I'll tell you exactly what he's getting it for. It's about the only grant we can get as a village. It's from the Department of, what's JCAP? Justice. Court stuff.
Justice Court Assistance Program.
There you go, Justice Court Assistance Program. It usually gets up for cameras and stuff that's up in court. So, but he needs a resolution from us to apply for it. So. And it's due, he's got to send it in by October 11th. So.
He's only got option 1 filled out.
Yep.
Is that the half of what he can ask for?
Yeah. So somebody like to make that motion.
Make that one. Oh,
Yeah, you make it.
Go.
You go.
rock, paper, scissors.
You said,
I'll make the motion, he'll second it, we're all good.
Any discussion on the motion?
yeah, just one more quick one. So is this something that we do all the time?
Yeah. Okay. He goes for it every year.
And it's for,
Doesn't say what it's for, so the
I didn't know
JCAP
what
can
we
only
use
be
for,
used.
it's for 30 grand though.
Right.
And he knows how to write it for the things.
Oh, yeah. He gets it just about every year.
For the purposes.
Good.
Okay. So let's vote on that. Rusty,
Yes. Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so we did that for him. Wasn't on the agenda, but I don't forget. Sewer department, everybody getting the report from Jer? Yep. We got 37,000 from haulers this month. Picked up a new one from the Ithaca area. That's cool.
And once again, we're hoping that, when we, if it makes a difference, when we build our new little road, that they can be easier and whatever for trucks to get in there and out of there and stuff, that will go pursue more hauling. In and out, easier, faster. Assume that that's what we're always gonna do.
He has something on here, emergency purchase of pump for septic receiving
yeah.
gardener equipment.
Yeah.
I thought we had a motion on the agenda about that. Let's see it.
Well, that's under 20,000, right?
Per emergency purchase of a pump for septic receiving, is that it or no? It's on, it is a motion on here,
Yeah,
I don't,
second one from the bottom.
I don't know whether, I got the paper there somewhere.
I don't know anything more about it than that.
Dave's not here.
Is this the Granger?
No, this is not the Greenwich thing. This is
Gardner?
Yeah.
Gardner.
So there's
Yeah.
a bunch of things on
$7,200 includes freight. I'd rather spend money on something like that than new, signal lights, to be absolutely honest.
But yeah, the sewer department has their own money, so.
Oh, even better.
So what do we got?
You said we brought in 30,000?
Yeah, 37,000.
Yeah. They got it covered.
Mike, is this the one that's 11,200?
Yes.
So does anybody talk to Dirk about it at all?
Dave may have, but he's sick.
Yeah. You want to table this until next time?
I don't think he
Well,
can.
it says lead time 3 to 6 weeks, how big an emergency is it?
Oh, yeah.
It's under the 20,000, right?
Well, that's for bid.
Right, that's bidding, I mean, we still gotta.
We gotta prove it.
Yeah.
Spend it.
If they need it, they need it.
Once again, that quote is correct. We just don't have anybody here to tell us that. If they need it, they need it. We don't know anything about it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's.
He said it's for the septic receiving.
Emergency purchase of a pump, septic receiving.
Septic receiving, so that's major for this plant to be able to accept our, from our haulers.
Emergency purchase.
Well, I would think we gotta do it.
Yeah.
Well,
We gotta receive ours.
let's do it, and if we mess it up, then we'll try to fix it.
Great. I mean, doesn't hurt, we gotta do it.
Who's making that?
I'll make a motion.
Charles made it.
Go for it.
Purchase the pump as presented, $11,200.
I'll second that.
Let's put the,
Paid for out of
Let's put
the sewer department,
Mike, let's put the up to,
up to 11,000, 12,000.
whatever the number, what was it, about 2, but yeah, up to something, up to 12, 13, whatever we put the number at.
12,000.
From Gardner.
Yeah, there's a letter that they are sole source.
Yeah.
So it's not like you
Accept this letter of confirmation that Gardner.
So that's it? Purchase
Service center.
said pump from Gardner, up to 12.
Can you say that it's, can you use that language that says it's emergency purchase of pump for septic
No.
receiving?
No, you can't, because you always put too much verbiage into these motions.
It's already in there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already in the book.
Yeah.
It's already in
Okay,
there.
good.
Emergency purchase of a pump for septic.
We have so many pump houses and stuff, good to keep track of.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
No, it's already in there. All right, so we got a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Dar?
Yes.
Done, pal.
I got one thing, this is kind of, kind of like a curiosity. So Fifth Avenue, you got all these people walking up and down the highway, on Fifth Avenue coming into the village. And most of the time when they're walking, there's a sidewalk on the other side of the street. Can we put like a little sign that says, nicely, like, you idiots, could you please use the sidewalk? Have you ever come close to hitting anybody driving up through there?
Give them birth.
Huh?
I just, yeah.
Yeah, but then it puts you in oncoming traffic.
Sometimes you don't see them, they're just like,
Yeah, like all of a
they're
sudden.
going to McDonald's, they're going to all these different.
Yeah, they're
places.
walking all over the place. They're walking in the
I
street,
would
they're
just think
walking
we
on the
should put a
side.
little sign like you're in the village now, walk on the side.
As per the good, the bad, and the ugly movie, the way you have to write that is, there's a sidewalk on the other side of the street, idiot, and then Clint Eastwood hands it to go, it's for you.
But I'm just, I don't want to do it today, but I just think every time you go by there, you're gonna see people walking, I think we need to like direct them to our sidewalks. They just, and they got their headphones on, or bicycles with 4 things, and
Yeah, oh, yeah.
yards.
Drag it behind.
Alright, just, next time we go, just think about it.
I think you're allowed to be there if you're on bike
I think so, yeah.
or if you're running.
You're on a bike, you're gonna be in the middle of the road.
But I'm just saying, I think, just, there's a sidewalk right there, by everybody's all the way down there, the sidewalk. They're just moseying along, because somebody's gonna get run over, no doubt.
And when I was younger, the police, stopped me when I was walking and told me I had to walk on the side of the street where there was a sidewalk instead of walking on the side of the road that, you know, the break on the, well, you know where there's the, Strawberry now, just the riverbank.
Okay,
I was told I couldn't walk on the riverbank side, I had to walk on the sidewalks. You know, part of our laws, you know, it's like jaywalking sort of stuff.
We don't have a, well, you can't walk on the street, they don't have a law about walking on the grass.
Yeah, well,
We need that same thing, Rodney, in the whole village, cause we got a whole crew of people that love walking in the street. Where the sidewalk is right there next to lot, right on the same side of the street.
According to New York
State
State
DOT, there's already a law that requires people to walk on sidewalks when provided, and makes it illegal to walk on the road. So police could be
Police over
giving
there.
tickets to all these people.
And reminding them of the law.
Here's another.
Like they did.
Oh, no, Rodney's rolling now, here's another thing.
This is an old bending, and I almost showed somebody the other day on this one. Ride your bike downtown in the business district. People are like, they're riding their bikes, just going, whatever. People coming out of a store, they can't see them. Somebody went right across the highway in front of me yesterday. Just like, would you, you know, we exchanged the pleasantries. But really, just came right out, like, right from the antique store, right across. But you shouldn't be riding a bike. You could walk a bike, or maybe like,
We have some bike
whatever.
rules, we have bike rules in the code,
I
but
know,
they're not enforced.
But let's see, if you came out of a store with a guy on a bike,
Little
you know, you're carrying something or whatever, get the bikes off the sidewalk. I mean, I like.
And it's the same with, sorry about that, but it's the same with skateboarding.
Yeah,
Downtown, you can't be skateboarding on the sidewalk, cause you just
They
can't.
have a lovely skate park.
You got a skate park,
Yeah.
man.
Skateboard.
Another thing, I forgot, we took out the handicap ramp at our old building. It was deteriorating.
The one out on the back there.
We took it out because it was gonna be a major problem, so we just took out, since we don't need the ramp at the moment, so we just took it out. Just kinda, I mean, I think they closed the gate. That was an accident we didn't have, so we kinda cut that, but a couple people asked us, hey, you gotta do this.
It was in bad shape.
Yeah, we just took that out. Then we gotta sell it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So Rod,
there on Fifth Avenue, that side where there's not a sidewalk, can we put up a sign, please
Right,
walk on sidewalk?
right, that's what I was thinking, but I don't wanna put a sign up and get us in trouble like, oh, you made me cross in front of a car by
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't wanna do that.
and it's a state highway. It's a state highway, and to be honest with you, I hear what you said, but those people know there's a sidewalk over there. They're not going because you gotta tell them, oh, guys, guess what, didn't you see it? No, they're walking where they wanna walk.
Turtle crossing.
Alright.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, yeah.
of course, it's a Darwin theory, really.
That's right.
If we don't make
Let's keep moving.
Where are we?
So back to old business. We got on there Temple Street grant, discuss
boy.
pros and cons, and so we're gonna wait on this because we had a meeting Friday with Hunt. So all the bids came in over the amount of money we got. We're talking to them to figure out like exactly what does it mean to send a bid package out that'll hopefully come into the budget that we have. And then obviously we'll have to look at those two and figure out if we send it out or not.
So table for next.
We have more info on that coming.
So Mike, is the feel there that, the more we look at this and the more this and the more that maybe we don't want to even do that grant? Is that what we're sniffing or? what?
Well, there's more issues in that.
Well, of course there are, but I'm just saying.
Like obviously we already owe money on some of it.
Yeah.
We've done all the prints and engineering and whatever.
Yeah.
We can't just not do the grant.
We wanna fix up the windows and the, you know, it's really drafty over
Right.
there.
So that's, we
You
talked to them
understand how the
about,
windows work? We're gonna keep the same window and put a new piece of glass in it.
so we talked to them about, instead of doing that,
We got a different thing.
that we may be able to replace those windows. with historically accurate new windows. Instead of just fixing, but only do like the front of it.
Cause that was gonna be
That,
hundred,
Right.
grand or something, it was stupid.
So maybe they'll do less windows, but a nicer job.
Fixing up old windows is more efficient and stuff than replacement windows, because replacement windows you have to constantly replace.
Right.
So fixing up the old ones is more long lasting, better energy saving.
So they're working on that. Because they're thinking maybe they can completely fix like the front at a cheaper cost than doing all of them. So they're working on it, options
Okay.
for it. To hopefully get it within the budget. That's the goal. And still do the goal of the project, I guess.
So Hunt's doing that for us?
Yep.
Goody, goody.
Completely different fund than the DRI, by
Okay.
the way. I wish this crew did the DRI. They're very good.
You didn't hear that.
No, I'll tell James that, I don't care. But Gary and these other guys, they're much different than the DRI.
That's good word, different is good.
They know what they're doing. Let's do, payment of bills, everybody get it? It's a different format. What do we think of the new format? I like it.
We still haven't got all the kinks out, we're checking with different companies that use the same thing.
Yep.
We're getting more detail, but we just.
So it's sorted by fund. We got the general fund, the EMS, and the sewer.
that's good.
You like it better, Mike?
I like it. One thing, everybody knows we're getting audited by the comptroller. The one thing that they've brought up so far is our payment of bills system. So you may see it on the agenda for every meeting instead of just one meeting.
Okay.
So that we approve the bills more as they come in and before we send out the checks.
A lot of bills we pay in advance and say,
Right.
they charge us interest, and you gotta,
Right.
nice, they don't wanna wait to hear our meetings.
Right.
Yeah, I don't wanna wait till.
So you may see payment of bills on every agenda.
Yeah, I don't care, I don't mind if we pay them. And I like to pay the people on time, not like the state that doesn't care when they pay us.
Right. So, I looked through them, like I said, I did have a question on that one, the car star, what we're doing, but.
Who makes
I don't know.
Mike, what did you say? You said some, oh, you had a question on one of the bills.
Right.
For the car,
I got
for the
this.
car stuff for our Tahoe.
Yep. Which we do, actually, it was EMS.
So are we voting to,
Make a motion.
what do we do, vote to pay the bills? Is that how we say it?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
A second.
Sign this, we get it, I'll put it on the desk. Oh, we gotta vote. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles, yes, Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
And yes.
Next one, we wanna make a motion, I wanna pay down $1 million out of the 3 million, a little bit more, that we borrow for the DRI. So we're gonna start this off, we're gonna give $1 million plus the $32,000 interest.
Yep.
We
I
borrowed
didn't understand
we
exactly.
borrowed $3 million.
Borrow $3 million.
For the DRI.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pay back $1 million tonight.
We're gonna pay back $1 million.
1 million.
No, because we've gotten the money from the state.
32,000.
No, because we have $1 million, so we can pay that back.
We've been reimbursed that money.
We've been reimbursed that money. They still owe us $1.7 million.
Yeah, that's what I just asked. We got $1 million
We
from the
got
state that we're
reimbursed.
gonna pay towards the loan. Okay, okay.
So we had it sitting in the bank, so. We'd
I'll
like to
make
pay
a
it
motion
down.
to pay back $1 million plus the 32,250.
Second. So where's the 32, is that in our budget, the 32,000, where's that come from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's part of the interest that we've made on our end. In the end, we're gonna owe some money, but we have to give it back. we're getting 4.2, they're charging us like 4.7, 4.8.
Okay.
But the more we pay down, the less we have for interest.
Yeah, interest.
Right.
And then the project, we know a little bit, but not as much as we thought. But I wanna start paying it down, we pay $1 million, so that's less we gotta pay next time, right?
I'm just, I don't wanna go into great detail, I'm just slightly curious. So we paid this million, we paid the 32,000 interest, how much interest did we get on that? So where is our net, just in general? Where's the 32
We're
net?
close.
What?
We're close, because.
So we got close to that 32 in our.
Of the 3 million, we're getting 4.1.
I understood all that, I was talking about specifically on this 32 that we're paying, we're close to that. Let's pretend it's 0.5% or something. So we're close on.
Probably actually got more than we had it from.
Okay, so we're close to even on the interest, okay.
Yeah, for now. Let's vote on that, Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? And yes.
Next one is, we just wanna raise the fee of a tax search, we've been doing tax searches for $10 for the last 50 years. We called around different municipalities, Endicott, maybe Waverly, different places, and they thought, some are even more than that, but we thought $20 was a fair price.
Explain what that is, what's a tax lookup?
Say you wanna sell your property, you send us a thing that says, what do I owe on the property, are there any outstanding bills, we look up anything that we have, like anything that, say you didn't mow the lawn, that goes in, we find all that out, and then we put on the taxes, send it off.
So it's like a required piece of paper that somebody needs before they can sell their property?
It tells you how much the sewer bill is, like, you wouldn't know, like, the average person would know how much do I owe on the sewer bill as of this date, so we give a date, and that's how much you owe.
Okay.
Well, somebody.
Yeah, we put a note on there that says, that's not the final bill, it depends on when your closing is, so.
If somebody wants to buy a property, they need to know if there's money owed to a municipality in places that they didn't know to look, and so they ask if there's anything owed. So that, when Bertie buys the bar up here, he doesn't know that there's a $10,000 sewer lien on that.
All right.
And then gets
We
stuck.
just wanna raise it to $20.
So the village is charging for that service.
$20 seems very reasonable. I'll motion to do that.
I'll second that.
Any other questions? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Yes. And the next one is the standard workday for our associate justice, which we've done these for other people.
Yeah,
So where is
we
that?
actually got to do a new one.
This is Mike.
That's
That's
Mike.
Mike.
He must be getting towards retirement, they looked into it today, you guys haven't got one on him, so we need I think we have an example there.
Yeah.
So is that on the paper here?
Yeah, it's all about the retirement, so.
It's for retirement, so he just wants us to prove that to do it in the short fee.
This is a standard thing that we do, and we've done it for him or people like him before.
Yeah, we've done it.
And we're gonna do one, I've been trying to, it was on my little list on the board, we have here for the whole village in general. We've done it, sometimes it falls in the cracks, we pull that back out.
But just for good, somebody, all right, so it says standard work day, what's 3 mean?
He's working 3
days bi-weekly, every 2 weeks.
3 days every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he's contracted with.
That's what we put in there. So what's that called? Let's see, we approve standard work day for associate. So moved.
We got a second?
Second.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, next thing, we don't really have to approve it. I don't know why there's a motion on there. But we got info on the crop walk, and I met with Pastor Friday. I told her she didn't have to come sit for all this. But it's the same crop walk as always. There's 3 options of a route. She says that they're gonna take the longest route, which is long walk number 2.9 miles. It's this one that goes through Martin Park. And it starts Starts at the church. Ends at the other church.
It's a standard thing they do every year.
Yeah, it's all gonna be on sidewalks.
It's all sidewalks.
It's always
no
on
anything.
sidewalk.
So it's just information that it's gonna be on October 20th at 2:00.
She's got two long walk original and long walk alternative.
Yeah, I think it's the alternative.
So what
Whichever one
is
goes,
it they want us to do?
whichever one goes through Marvin Park.
What do they want us to approve one of them, or they want us to approve all of them at their leisure?
We don't really have to approve any of them. It's just all on the sidewalks. But that's the one they're gonna do is long walk alternative number 2.
We wanna make a motion?
We don't have to. I mean, you can if you want.
Just informing us that it's gonna happen.
Right.
I'll put that in for.
If you see him walking, that's what.
Walking here.
Walking.
We got minutes. We got September 16th and 23rd.
I sent in my report late, but including that, I would, able to approve September 16th.
16.
That's the one.
That's a special meeting. No, no, that's right.
That was the regular meeting.
Who seconded that one?
I'll second it.
It's gone too fast.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Rusty, do you have anything on those minutes?
Yeah, I wanted another second for that. You know, I got too many papers, that's all. Okay. I'm gonna have to abstain, it doesn't matter, tell me when you're ready to vote.
Okay, we're voting. Rusty?
Have I? I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah. Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Carol? Yes. Okay, then we got motion, or the minutes of the 23rd, which was just the one pager. That was our DRI meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented for the September 23rd.
I'll second that.
Who did these, a second grader?
Those are my notes. That's why they're,
Younger, you don't get the good news.
the backup team.
They're not much fun to do.
I move that we have the mayor, we approve these and have the mayor do them every year.
I second.
This is the length that we want it to be.
This is our meeting right here. We go down to this. We have a meeting every 2
No,
days.
Laura would not do that.
Move to approve.
There. I think we already did that.
We already did that one.
Let's vote. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? And yes for me. We got extra resolved in there. I'm gonna use that extra resolve. Talk about OHPC. So we need a new chairperson for OHPC. Talk to Nate. The way this works is I have to nominate somebody, and then you guys have to approve that nomination. So I'm gonna nominate Phoebe Morris as the chair of the OHPC. You guys need to approve that. We're not approving.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make a motion to have Phoebe Morris become the chair of OHPC.
Second.
That is discussion. Shall we vote? Rusty?
Yes.
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yeah.
And yes. So that's nice. Press that on my list. Things not to forget.
Gosh, Terry, I wish we had somebody here on the road that didn't like that.
So the only other thing we got trustee reports. Hopefully, let's try and keep it like 5 minutes and get the heck out of here.
Talking to you.
Dave, not here. No report. Perfect. Rusty?
I don't see my 5 minutes to my colleague from South Dakota.
Okay. Charles?
I got nothing.
That's what we like. All right, Laura.
Okay.
If you got more than 5 minutes, you can just email us.
Energy Choices Owego is our, what's our summer campaign. And everybody should have gotten a letter, all the village residents, about explaining what Next is, what community solar is, and how they can subscribe to save 20% off of their electric bills from NYSEG. So, if people would like to save money, if this is a great way to do it.
I got mine, so they definitely went out in the mail.
Yep.
I have one question. Is it delivery, is it the electric bill or is it delivery?
So it's the supply and delivery of the charges of the electric portion, not your gas portion. So it's just what you use of electricity, and not anything of burning.
And you do get
No carbon burning.
You do get 2 bills if you do that.
Yeah, yeah.
By reading it.
Your NYSEG bill will go down, but by that amount, and you will pay your 80% of what you would have paid
Through a different company.
through different
For the
companies.
supply, so it is both delivery and supply, which is unusual.
It's quite unusual for communities to get 20%. There's a lot of places that'll try to offer 5 to 10%.
I didn't check into it to see how it works if you're on the NYSEG budget. The budget billing. But
Yeah, it's okay for budget billing.
I don't know how it works with 2 different bills. That might be a question we get.
So programs set up for low income, so like best benefit low income people, but I don't know about when they're paying their bills how that might work for them.
That just might be something we want to have the answers, because I can see people asking us that.
Yeah.
You say low income, will that be people that receive heat?
Oh yeah, everybody's eligible. So anybody in an apartment, like everybody's able to save, use this to save money on bills. Like, I guess we use villages, sewer records or the tax records to get everybody's addresses. So we failed to get like some of the
renters.
People who rented.
Yeah, I rented at Long Meadow and I did not get one.
Yeah, we weren't able to get into.
There's probably 30 other apartments.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people don't get it from that aspect, you know what I mean?
So you can take advantage of it anyway, and we can put up.
Those don't use your whole 5 minutes on this.
Yeah, we can give you flyers to put up at the building so that they can take advantage of it.
But I didn't get, it's for low income, but it's for everybody. I didn't understand.
Anyone in the village.
Right. The program is anyway.
Doesn't matter what your.
So it's not low income.
No.
Yeah, the whole village is covered because we're a disadvantaged community.
Okay.
So that's
That's
why
fine.
everybody, because our whole region.
No, that's fine, that's all good, just, it's
Yeah.
not low income, it's that.
That was kind of restricted.
People outside of the village, if they're low income, they could qualify to get the 20%. But we
Everybody can get
automatically.
the 10%.
Yeah, we got this. Because of this, because we're a disadvantaged community, we're able to secure 20% for everybody. All right, so BRIC DTA, that's the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, non-financial direct technical assistance. This is the government helping us achieve our goals for 3 years. They are going to come for a site visit Monday, November 4th. And so their team will meet up with our board. We're going to have our regular board meeting that night. So they, that way they can meet us here. But also they can perform site visits, review documents, have different meetings with different departments or groups of us to get our ideas of how we want to move forward with our projects. So, one of them is the culvert to the wastewater treatment plant and then all of our buildings. So, what I mean by all of our buildings is we asked for to improve all of our critical infrastructure sites, there's like 32 of them, to update them to be good to the 500-year flood and hazard mitigation protections. So it'd be great if we could have our department people and maybe even some of the employees to come and, like give their ideas of like what they want to happen to their buildings, or if they have ideas of what, how they want to work, and, so that we can advance our projects, and get grants, build ourselves a brick grant in the future.
What's the time of that meeting?
Well, they're gonna be here Monday, November 4th.
Yeah.
They're coming in the morning of Monday the 4th, and they're gonna depart on the morning of the 5th.
Well, is there a meeting that people can attend, or?
We're gonna organize that. So like all day, we will have their time all day, and we'll organize to have,
To be determined.
to have meetings and meet with everybody. So we'll organize like probably a working meeting, and then also for them to come to our board meeting, but not take over what we need to do.
Okay.
Anastasia Yankopoulos will be our person of contact for our project. So everything that we do, we will have most likely one or two people from the village, and then that will be our contact with the government. And then Cadmus, trying to narrow down a new date for their visit to the wastewater treatment plant. They'll conduct an energy audit of the operations. And so we want to know from Dirk if he's available the 21st or the 28th, those weeks.
October or November?
October. Last time we had it set up for, and then like during the Strawberry Festival, they had like that emergency problem with the sewers and stuff, so they had to reschedule. And so this is it. We're trying to schedule for now. And then NYSERDA's grant for us, the Clean Energy Communities, the $240,000. I'm working with Jaden Beck and Michael Brown to get the EV, the level 2 chargers, and the electric landscaping equipment. I'm trying to get that by the end of the month. And then we'll figure out the solar stuff later on.
Was the vehicle one too? I didn't hear you that
Yep.
charging said the vehicle.
Yeah. Next, or Code's vehicle has long been out of service, so I really want to get them.
We're still driving it around. It's not in good shape.
Yes.
Anyway.
So yeah, we just want to get a good new car as quickly as I can. That's it for me.
Wow. In time. Good job.
That was less than 5, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That chance, but it was good. It was pretty good.
It was good. She took Rusty's time too, did she? That's right.
Terry?
I went to DRI meeting with Mike the other day. I did send a couple pictures to James that the grass is finally greening around the skate park. He really was excited to see that. That was good. Hopefully that sign will be delivered before long because it's all been approved, something like that. The OHPC meeting last Thursday night, the meeting was fairly short. They didn't have any applications. We talked a little bit about, Phoebe taking over the chair. Kim Trahan has sent in an application to them, so they're going to give us that information. And unfortunately, did not get it originally.
Okay.
But she would like to go back on the board. She had been on the board previously, but she was working full time. Now she's down to 2 days a week. She feels like she has some time she can devote to it. So she is an applicant. We did have a problem after we adjourned the meeting. We had a resident come in who had a lot of complaints, was verbally abusive to the volunteers, wouldn't really stop, didn't really want to leave the building. So a couple of people, initially I think we were all just kind of like, shocked, good heavens, what is going on? But afterwards, a couple of people from the commission approached me on the weekend and basically said they felt very uncomfortable in that meeting. So I think we have to discuss if we need some police presence at some of these meetings, if we think we're going to have problems, how do we manage that? Because I don't want volunteers in here feeling like they're being attacked. Right. And that was pretty much, it was pretty threatening. I mean, I do think there was some contributing factors to this. I think there was some alcohol perhaps in this person. But I do think that that is something we have to take care, like, of the safety aspect, you know, when we're having meetings here. And I don't think I've never felt like that here before. But the spouse of the person was in the lobby kind of waiting out there for a while. And that's kind of actually what I think really made me go, oh, this is not great, because I've never seen that spouse here. So.
Yeah, so we can let OPD know of meetings that are going on, and they can, you know, come in. I mean, they were here a little bit tonight, so.
I did see that, yeah.
We, we're required to get training, periodically about violence in the workplace and stuff, and so all the committee members and everybody who comes to these meetings, can expect, to not be, you know, harassment or like, you know, you should call the police and always report it, and so like we're required to report when incidents happen, so it's good that you mentioned it.
Yeah, no, I think it's important, and I mean, I, you know, worked in the school district for a long time. You know, we had protocols and procedures, and, I mean, I think if it had gotten any further, I think OPD would have been called Thursday night. But that's not really what we're here for, that's not what we want to be doing. We want to be, like, doing our job and going forward, and it was kind of a hindrance.
They shouldn't have to deal with that, really, I mean.
Oh, no.
You should expect
Well, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we should have some sort of a training for all the village volunteers.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, as far as how to.
we have the little harassment thing you do when you start. I did that, you
The
know, it's on a.
volunteers aren't the ones doing the harassment, it's the
Right,
residents.
oh, right, this was different that way.
Could I throw something in the middle of your report?
Mm-hmm.
Aside from certainly the possibility that we would have police here for every meeting, et cetera, this was an odd one in a little bit of a way, because the person that made trouble didn't come till at the end or after the meeting, so you didn't have, no, I'm saying you didn't have the ability to do something ahead of that. So this is another little possibility. Assuming that they're not incredibly busy at the moment or something, when we start a meeting, we have a police officer here, just shows up, just comes in for a minute, walks over to the chair, says, hi, Bob, I'll be around if you need me, out he goes. Doesn't stay, but that puts anybody at that meeting on alert that we have a police officer and he's ready to come here. I'm just saying that might be a way to, without.
So I'll say, that's not a bad idea, but I also encourage my clients to not publicly discuss safety plans, like that.
Yeah.
That would be a reason for an executive session.
Yeah.
If you even need those details, it's typically better to just mention to the chief of police, you'd appreciate if there was an officer that showed up every now and then let the chief of police decide when they should come.
Right. Yeah, we'll work that, because, yeah, they shouldn't have to deal with that.
Okay, and that is the end of my report.
Fran?
Okay, well, in addition to what we did before, I'd like the cemetery committee would, like to request that, the mayor, appoint Barbara Hughes as the new chairperson of the cemetery committee. John Radcliffe is gonna stay with the committee, it's just we're gonna change chairperson.
Did you say her name again?
Barb Hughes.
Barb Hughes, thank you. I appoint her, or
Okay.
offer her as appointment.
Okay.
I don't know if you have to vote on that.
No, you would think not, that's just a committee, that's
All
not
right,
a.
well, I appoint her as the chair.
Okay. Okay, only other thing, our next, cemetery committee meeting is, October the 28th, which is the last Monday of the month at 5:30 PM here. And then in, January, on January the 11th, which is a Saturday, we are having a joint meeting with the Friends of Owego Evergreen, so we can clarify who's handling what tasks, and of course, they do know that any projects that go on has to be, you know, brought to the board, but, so anyway, we're gonna sit down and discuss that on January 11th. That's it.
All right, down to me. I there is a, chief has arranged a collection drive for items in need down for the hurricane. Donating stuff to Hot Springs, North Carolina. There's an Owego person, ex-Owego person down there. So drop stuff off here or at the community shop, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's part of why one of the police was here, because they're staffing the building from 4:30 till 8 if people want to bring stuff. So the other thing, the bonfire village appreciation night. Just a reminder, it's October 18th over at North Park. He's got quite the lineup of stuff going on. Should be good that. And I sent it to Charles too, but the city of Elmira has contacted me to take a tour and get with us about what we did at the skate park because they want to redo their skate park. And they've seen this talked about on the news and whatnot. So.
Great.
Yeah.
And they also requested to have their homeless back?
I'm asking that right here. What show?
Yeah. Take them back. Because that's something you have to go, because we know they sent it.
Well, they came from there yet.
How's it going? That should not miss a lot.
Kind of, sort of. They moved over here on the driveway.
I remembered something that I wanted to ask about. Yeah, we were talking about, by email, the discussion about having Nate take action.
Yes.
So can we talk about how do we just,
we can do a resolution.
Yeah,
so for the Legion sign issue, then it's just a motion to authorize Kaufman and Gerhardt to commence an action to compel removal of the digital sign. Simple as that, and then we'll get on it. Regarding the other code enforcement issues that you flagged. So Mick, it looks like just issued citations last week for notices of violation. I know because I've talked to him, he's in touch with, I can't remember her name, but one of the ADAs who's assigned to build the legal courts. He's worked with her in the past about, hey, we're looking to bring so-and-so property to court and gotten whatever it is that she needs to do that. I'm not sure that they've actually gone much further than that, but it's up to the district attorney's office to handle the actual code prosecution. So the digital sign is different because that's a Supreme Court action, that's a civil action, not a code prosecution. It's a zoning issue. It's a zoning issue.
what about the other zoning issue of the other property down the street?
Yeah, so if it's a zoning or code issue that results in a criminal fine or penalty, which is what basically everything that code enforcement ends up issuing, then it would be the ADA. Yeah, the ADA handling it. If we wanted to pursue civil penalties against people, we could do that route. I know town and village courts get very confused when we try to bring a civil enforcement action for code and zoning issues. They're like, but it's code. It means it's this, and so it's the ADA I know is aware of this stuff. I've talked with them before about these things. They're not these ones specifically, but they're handling this stuff. So you need to talk to Mick, or ask Mick to report like what is the progress on those code violation issues.
Yeah, and that was a county decision 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
I'd say longer than that, yeah.
To take that back, so Kaufman and Gerhardt had always prosecuted the code violations. The county pulled the card and said, we're gonna do it, which they can do by law.
Yep.
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah.
But if they do not do those things for us, we'll make a fuss about it.
It's not a lot we can.
Oh, yeah, we can make a fuss about that.
We can make a fuss, but.
I'm talking to state level.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we have to go.
Yeah, well, if they're unwilling to prosecute our cases, that's.
And I'm not aware of them being unwilling to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
The code enforcement office in the Village of Owego has not traditionally been a heavy enforcer.
Right.
There's like events going on at that property with like state officials came and attended events there, and like
the building doesn't have like all its, like it doesn't have a certificate of occupancy.
The state officials didn't, of course, know any of that.
Yeah.
Right, but like-
Laura, I'm telling you, you know, the DA's office is the one that's handling this. I am not handling that.
Yeah, but like, shouldn't our violations, or like, shouldn't like there be like a sheet of paper on the door that says like they can't be using the building, and that like, you know, like if we're having police and the state officials come, you know, spend time in the building, you know, getting served food and drinks from the bar and stuff like that, shouldn't like we say something like, oh, sorry guys, that facility doesn't have proper zoning or, you know, stuff.
I don't know this more, you know, the exact specifics, or I don't recall them as to what exactly has been posted and where, but
I don't know.
you usually only post a piece of paper on a door if you're condemning something, right, as unsafe or unfit.
And I will say, that event, I let people know that we're in charge of the event, the issues. And that's still happening, so.
And like we, you know, we allowed the prom to happen there, but like they're already setting up for the prom to happen again. But we know that that's an unsafe situation for the kids.
So again, if there's issues, then the code enforcement office needs to be issuing notices of violation and following up with actions in the court. It's not, the thing that you folks can do is express displeasure to the code enforcement officer about a failure to move these things forward to court. Right.
Without going into detail, they're doing these things, they have letters, they have violations, they're doing stuff, and they were doing stuff today, but I'm not really at liberty to tell you all the things they tell it.
And it's, you know, it's not, I don't think it's appropriate for the village board to get into specifics about pending potential litigation in an open session. If you're frustrated about it, I appreciate that. It's appropriate to express that frustration without getting into specifics, and ask the code enforcement officer to come and give a report to you as to where things stand and what is, and asking them in an executive session for an update on this pending litigation.
Maybe we should plan that for our next meeting.
Let's have a special meeting next Monday.
No, I won't be here.
No, you mean after we have the one later this week?
But we do need to take action or sign.
Yeah, so I'd like to make that motion that we would start the.
Kaufman and Gerhardt is authorized to commence a lawsuit against the local American Legion Post 401, and or the property owner. I'm not sure if they own the property or what. I'm just saying, trying to cover all my bases here. You know, to
That might be New
compel.
York State, you know, the Elks is owned by the big Elks.
We'd have to name them if that's the case, but to compel removal of the digital sign, along with costs, fees, and damages and expenses. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, we don't want to spend money.
Well,
We're gonna.
should be just relatively straightforward.
So they have to make a motion.
Laura,
I'll second that motion.
okay, any discussion on that? Hope not, we should. Let's vote on that. Fran,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Charles, Rusty,
I must abstain.
Laura.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Okay.
I vote yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's all the stuff we have to do.
Who's there?
Public comment. Nobody.
The public has disappeared.
They've left us.
They're tired of us.
They'll watch it on YouTube, it's fine. Okay. They won't be able to hear it, though, because our microphone sucks.
Yeah.
I'm working on that with the camera. About 4 months ago.
You just gotta hire somebody to do it.
Yeah, right. County IT is supposed to be helping us out.
I know it is, especially when Rusty.
Someday they'll tell us what to